Reinforcements from New Mombasa dropping in. Hello and welcome to Triangle Square, the PlayStation podcast. I'm your host, Brett Beckett. Alongside me, as always, is Mr. Chris Figs. Chris, how you doing today, bud?
I'm doing okay-ish, in a way. Had an interesting week, so...
Are you ready with your interesting week to jump back in? Actually, it's good. Let's start right there. Are you jumping back into Helldivers?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so, but on the off chance, I thought, will there be a crossover that makes you actually kind of go, oh shit? So let's go through a quick list. Okay, Chris, if they do an Apex crossover.
No.
No, okay. Good to know. Okay, if they do a Mass Effect crossover.
What's the crossover?
Andromeda.
Is it like skins or is it a map?
Oh, that's a good question. And that's the question that's going to be, the grand. It's kind of at the core of everything, right? It's like, do we start seeing crossovers include adding additional planets into the universe, the galactic map of Helldivers 2? So that's a good question to see if, I don't know. Let's break down and go for a second. Do you think that's actually a good idea in terms of? Okay, I think clearly it's a good idea in terms of what it's willing to bring people into.
It has to be targeted, right?
But here's the problem, though, is that in a way, you're implying that all those planets are part of this world, and I don't think IP-wise that's going to matter. I guess maybe that someone might be prideful and be like, we don't want to technically be part of this universe. I think like when I go through why it's easier for Fortnite to pull in Kratos is because they're not implying that Kratos, the world that Kratos is from, exists in the world of Fortnite inherently. But in the way Helldivers works, if they skins are one thing. If they add a map of an area, then you're implying that the world in which like God of War Ragnarok takes place is on a planet in the universe.
Well, okay. Then let me cook here for a second, right? Here's the Mass Effect crossover. They just dump a mass relay in the middle of the map, and you take the mass relay to Halo universe. So there's no skins, there's no map. It's just all of a sudden a pop-up of Liara Tassoni goes, hello, Shepard, or whatever you're fucking. Hello, Helldiver. I'm doing research in your universe, and I've left a mass relay for you. And you take the mass relay. It's like, holy fuck, we're on Helgen. It's like, oh, that's Master Chief, But I don't know. To me, like they'd have to. The stuff that I would want to see doesn't make sense for Helldivers.
Bro, if you went back to 2009 and you showed someone a video of what looked Fortnite to be a legitimate game where you saw Master Chief running through the streets of the fucking Helgen City in Killzone 2. Yeah. I don't even know what the fuck people would do.
Dude, imagine showing someone Fortnite.
Oh, yeah. But in and of itself, I mean, I don't know. I guess people might be like, depending on how deep you go, people might go, oh, like Smash Bros. Cameos.
Dude, but the thing is, the thing with
you
Fortnite,
show Spider-Man, it's like, what the fuck?
The thing with Fortnite, right, is that most of the crossovers don't make sense, which is why Fortnite is such a trip, right? Because you can be in a party with Michael Myers, Kratos, Sabrina Carpenter,
Hatsune Miku.
And Hatsune Miku. Or fucking, I don't know, Bad Bunny. Like all of these things. Like, I'm surprised Hello Kitty's not in that fucking game. I was watching a video today, and it was a bunch of people playing as all the Power Rangers, teaming up with all of the Ninja Turtles to go fight a bunch of guys who were Kratos and Spider-Man and Master Chief. I'm like, this is the most ridiculous video game on the planet. And it's not even very fun.
But then you're saying that at least if it's like Marcus Phoenix chainsawing through a chimera as he kicks its corpse down and reveals a mech on Helgen, that you're like, they're all sci-fi shooters.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I guess I get you in that point. Though I'm gonna be real. In the world of crossovers prior to Fortnite, I can totally envision like a 99, maybe 2001 crossover of Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles. That doesn't seem off the table to me. But the moment that if you go back to like 99 and you go and Janet Jackson.
It's like imagine showing someone from 15 years ago the video of the fifth. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like 15 Sabrina Carpenters in Fortnite, all doing the Sabrina Carpenter dance, like emoting and just all being like cutesy little girls. And then a guy who's not dressed as Sabrina Carpenter comes in and emotes, and they all pull out shotguns and kill him, and then go immediately back to emoting because it's a fucking fever dream of an image to see.
Yeah, so I'm saying like if you showed me a weird crossover that was like Power Rangers helping the Ninja Turtles fight Shredder, but then Janet Jackson came in and she was like, "Do y'all need some help singing your enemies to death?" And then suddenly like Robin Williams as Mrs. Doubtfire turns around and it's like, "Oh," yeah, I'd be like, okay, this is clearly a dream. This didn't happen.
You get Paula Abdul and that fucking cat that she has in that music video.
Yeah, that's a good one.
No. In terms of Helldivers, like to me, it just has to make sense. Like, I get that this is a PlayStation game, but
now, what does make sense mean?
Well, let me finish talking.
Fair enough.
Objectively, Halo is the game that makes the absolute most sense for a crossover because the aesthetics are close, and even the gameplay is not the same, but close enough where I'm like, okay, I can see this. Like Killzone made sense, kind of. Well, like the biggest conversation around Helldivers 2 has always been it's very Halo coded, which is why to me it made perfect sense on Xbox, and it still does.
Well, let's take a step back real quick and let's go ahead and just say the news for anyone who's like not reading between the lines here. Well, we're going to do an unprecedented thing. We're going to start this show off with a piece of news, and then we'll drift off into the rest of it. Yeah. So, Arrowhead Game Studios has dropped a new trailer to build hype for Helldivers 2's Xbox Series X and S launch on August 26th, so a little bit later this month. Though most of the trailer showcases explosive cooperative chaos, its closing shot reveals a rain-drenched city and a single hellpod descending, accompanied by a saxophone riff unmistakably lifted from Halo 3 ODST's soundtrack. This subtle musical nod has sparked widespread speculation of a potential crossover event, perhaps in the form of ODST-themed armor or content within the game. Fans on Reddit are already buzzing, with some disassembling the visuals to point out the drop pod's resemblance to ODST gear, and others hoping for a proper Warbond collaboration like Killzone had before. So, with that little bit of information there, the rest of this conversation can go on without a hitch. Killzone made sense as a collaboration, at least within, of course, at the time, Sony game referencing another Sony game that's in the same basic, hey,
idea.
We're a sci-fi game where you fight technically aliens, because the Helgen are basically aliens.
No, they're not
at that point. Well, they have drifted from humans because of the changes they undertook in the environment of Helgen.
I know. True. Fair.
So I'll give you this: if we're actually going off of biology, they're still human in the sense that human is a specific. I can't even think of the word right now, but. Humans are like all humans are primates, but not all primates are humans.
Right.
So it's like Helgens are all going to be human, but not all humans are Helgens.
Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah.
There we go.
Fair enough.
So point being, and in all of that, Halo 3 ODST and doing the little drop pods that they use in that game, which one of the great things about ODST is it's one of the few games where you're not playing as Master Chief.
That's sick.
I love that. I love that game. And I don't get me wrong, I like Halo. I'm not shitting. I just think Halo is a lot more interesting when you can't jump infinitely high and you don't have constant shields. Like, one of my favorite things about ODST was like, oh shit, I have to pay attention to my health and heal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. For single player purposes, I like that more.
Yeah, I think with Helldivers,
personally,
like it has to be. I would be. It's weird because I wouldn't like it if they got more, I guess, like crazy with it, right? like I don't want to see a thing of like, oh, we've put, I don't know, Avengers Doomsday is coming out, so here's Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, as Victor Von Doom, right? Like I don't want to see that skin. So, but at the same time, I might play Helldivers 2 again if it was like this ridiculous skin is going. Like I played Warzone because I wanted to see people running around as Beavis and Butthead, but that's objectively offensive to every sense that I have in my being. So, you know, it depends, you know. So it's hard to really nail down what I think is a good crossover. I think Halo is undeniably more than, again, this is a PlayStation game, I get that, but more than any other crossover they could have done, Halo was the best one. And I can't think of many more.
I have a really good contender in my opinion. It's not even a game that I have a lot of love for. So this is strictly just because I think that the concepts mix over really well. I don't even know if you're familiar with it, but I'd be surprised if you hadn't at least seen it in passing. My boy Sweet Gran Turismo Jones will know what I'm talking about here. EDF, Earth Defense Force games.
I know it. Yeah.
That feels like a Halo level, like for a different reason. Like, right, Halo's not necessarily so bug focused, but like a lot of Helldivers 2 was. But the drop, you know, your drop soldiers that are coming in and doing stuff, that feels like it. And then if you flip that and look at EDF as being like the bug planets, this feels very in line in a way that I'm like, I get it. And to that end, I actually think Gears of War, considering that.
I would say
technically Gears of War, they're called locusts. I mean, they're kind of bug-like in the way that they approach some of the things. So I think, you know, the reality is that I still actually think a Resistance crossover is a good idea in the long run too.
Could you imagine if that's how we finally see the shooters? Chimera homeworld is in a Helldivers map?
Bro, that would actually, if you're not going to make any more Resistance, like if you've just kind of given up the ghost on that,
yeah.
I actually think that why not? But then this goes to a conversation that's happening around Magic the Gathering right now, and I kind of understand it. So I'm not even saying that I think all these things should happen. I understand why they're exciting, but I also understand for people who just really like the lore of a video game, not wanting to see it watered down by just taking on the personality and aspects of something else. So like what's happening in Magic right now is that you got the Final Fantasy set that came in and it's done better than any Magic set before it. And then you have Spider-Man coming soon and then Avatar The Last Airbender crossover. And even though this new set that just came out, Echoes of Eternity, is doing pretty well, and it's probably doing better than it would have been without this new influx of players. The reality that a lot of people have is they feel like the world of Magic the Gathering is being slowly suffocated under them prioritizing pulling in things that aren't actually even a part of the Magic the Gathering universe and not building on the Magic the Gathering universe just so they can bring in new players. To that end, let's just say someone absolutely fucking adores Helldivers 2 and they're like, I want to see this lore get expanded on. And you know, they were doing that cool thing where like sometimes you could be in the waiting bay and you could like hear like fucking messages coming from like the robots and like information that would lead you to believe that maybe the bugs is like Super Earth trying to cover its tracks for some fucked up shit that it does. That stuff runs the risk, if you start Fortniting this too hard, of that stuff that people really like about the game being pushed under, and this kind of D&D, you know, we react to what the players are doing in real time because we've kind of got a game master. That stuff can start to get kind of suffocated under the weight of, well, we got to try and pull in Halo and optimize this moment where we have Halo stuff, and then we got to pull in Gears, and we're going to have to optimize around the Gears, and we're going to pull in EDF, and we're going to have to optimize around that. So all I'm saying is,
dude, EDF there is something would be such a good crossover.
It really would, though. But my point is that you do run the risk of not letting. It seems so hard in modern world to just let an IP be an IP without anything else. It always feels like eventually you have to support it with a different IP, and that can be a little disheartening. Well, but what were you going to say?
Again, that's, to me, it seems like again, it's all about how you do it, right? Because inherently, I would think a Horizon map would be crazy, right? But it depends how you do it, because if I drop on that map and it's like me versus the bugs versus the robot dinosaurs, right? And I can walk up on a Thunderjaw fighting one of those scarabs. I can't remember the names. I can't believe I remembered the Horizon one and not the Helldivers one. But
The Titans.
I'm talking about that big beetle ass motherfucker that you have to kill.
Oh yeah, the Charger.
Yeah, the Charger. So just you drop on that map. It's this colorful jungle map, and then you walk into the center of it, and you're like, "Oh, a Thunderjaw's fighting a Charger," and you can go around it. You can get in the middle of it. Like that would be cool, you know. So it all depends on how they go about it, and I think it has to be targeted. Because I'll tell you what, if I drop onto New Earth and then Hank Hill is there, I'm gonna be like, "What the fuck is this? That's funny, but this is not Helldivers." But like, I can stretch myself in certain ways, right? Like Aliens, if they crossed over with Alien, I would be like,
Or
I can see that. Predator too. Yeah. One Predator on the map, and you have to get your stuff done while the Predator's there. Sick. Like, you know. There's all of that. So to me, it's like they just got to focus in and target if they're going to do more of this. And I think doing Halo and Killzone has opened them up to it. And the reality.
Well, what's going to open them up to it is how excited people get and the money that's going to come from it.
I won't play it, but I'm excited to see
excitement is not really what's getting them. What is getting them is excitement mixed with action. The moment that people start flooding the game and spending a lot of money on war bonds, more than they probably spent on the game to buy just to play the game, that really is a hard thing to fight. And so from a business sense, I understand why so many IPs become laden with other IP.
Well, let's go back to your Magic example, right? They said they did what, $2 billion in 2 days, a record for them.
Yeah, it was
over
insane.
Final Fantasy. So that's why you get them. Like, it's not hard to figure out. You know what I mean? Like, I get that it sucks for the lore guys, but still.
I guess it's one of those things where, and I don't mean this in like a super woe is me way, but I can at least kind of understand why you might feel like I was in on this game relatively early before it started becoming the cultural zeitgeist piece. And now I'm losing an aspect of what this game was, which is okay. Because we talk about all the time, like with online games specifically, once an update happens, the version of the game that you liked is technically gone. That doesn't mean you don't like the new one too, but that instance of that game is no longer around unless you're lucky and you have a weird, like Destiny 1 is still live, active, and playable. So if you liked the last update of that, but then Destiny 2 came out and you didn't like Destiny 2, you just keep playing Destiny 1. But that's rare. That's not usually how things go. And then you're still fucked on the Destiny 1 front if you really liked the Taken King expansion, but you didn't like the Rise of Iron or whatever the fuck it was called. Yeah. So, I mean, to that end, I get that eventually games pull you away. I mean, like, I loved Destiny for a long time, and then I just kind of was like, I have grown weary of this game constantly trying to make me play it. And that's even happened, like, even games that don't do that, it happens eventually. I was playing RuneScape, which I've done multiple times, but I was playing RuneScape for like a good 4-year run there. And then one day I was just kind of like, the game didn't do anything. This game doesn't push anything on you. There's no dailies. There's fucking nothing. But I was kind of like, I'm tired of playing this almost every day. I want to do something different. And eventually you just kind of go, I'm good. I'm just going to pass. I'm going to move on. So to that end, I can see why it's still like, oh, it sucks that maybe if you liked Helldivers 2 in a more pure form, it's being ushered out quicker than it would have been prior to this. But the reality is that the business is going to drive this.
And I do see both sides, right? Because you and I have a shared experience this year. We both beat Call of Duty 4. I beat Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. But we both played Call of Duty 4. And I can understand the people that say that show a video of Warzone with Beavis and Butthead and goes, "What happened to this thing?" And I'm like, yeah, I get it, but that's funny.
Well,
so it's like it's an
let's
up
be
and
real.
down.
Also, the real is what happened to this thing. This makes more money.
Yeah, 100%.
Whether or not you wish it did. This makes more money.
Dude, I don't play
what
Fortnite,
will be really
and I
cool
bought a
see,
Goku skin because it was funny.
This is what's going to be really interesting to see. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not a big enough Battlefield guy, and I know that Battlefield, if we're being honest with ourselves, has never actually competed against Call of Duty when it comes to sheer player numbers or whatever. But it's a very successful franchise that has a pretty core audience that like to follow them. If Battlefield chooses to double down on being more drenched and more realistic, like we're going to try and be true to the military thing, and it can manage to even get close to what Warzone's doing right now. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I like the thought that that can happen, because I think it's an interesting way for you to be able to look at them in the eye and go, you might be right that you were making more money than you were when you were doing this other thing, but you didn't keep doing this other thing to really see that either. You just followed the trend. And now we're showing that if you support it the right way, again, if this happens, then we can still make as much money. That would be kind of compelling to see, because I don't think you get that very often. There's not enough going on throughout the industry to really pull that, because here lately, for sure, this past decade, I think if I were going to put anything, this is not saying it's not been true for all of gaming. It literally has. There's a reason that every console had PlayStation, had some kind of motion-based gaming peripheral. But I think more than anything, what used to happen is that people would chase trends in a subsection of the market. I think gaming at large has become trend chasing in general. And then you get a few examples of games that just really don't. And then they kind of are lauded and like, oh wow, look at this because of that. And one of the only game I've played since we last recorded is actually, I think, a really good example of that. I think it flies in the face of a lot of modern convention, and yet it's incredibly good. So yeah, to wrap all that up, I mean, Chris, if you want to add anything else to it, I'm not opposed to this happening. And I think given the fact that this game was going multi-platform, this feels like a natural step to happen alongside it. Nor am I really saying that this has already happened. This is just more that we're seeing more seeds be planted towards the direction of being able to become a Fortnite-style crossover machine. But we'll have to see what they choose to do with it, and we'll also have to see how long this goes. For now, I guess, if anything, we can all just be thankful that this is Sony's one and only true example of a real games as a service that is treated like a games as a service and has monetization like a games as a service. And dailies and all the different things that you're trying to do. This is the only one. Gran Turismo may be technically a games as a service. MLB may be.
I don't think definitely both a game as a service.
What I would argue, though, is that they both approach that in a different way. MLB is games as a service with a time clock on it. Eventually, it's going to stop mattering.
True.
Which is cool. I love that. And then Gran Turismo is a games as a service in a much softer way. You get updates constantly. There's reasons to keep going back and playing, but you don't have to pay for any of that. You can pay to get money to buy the car that you wanted, or you can just keep playing and do it. So it's cool that they have kind of a spectrum across the board. But if we're going to look at what's kind of become like a true games as a service, even then, Sony's little bit of thing is that you still have to buy Helldivers too. So they're still shirking it a little bit. But all the same, it's pretty interesting. So,
so
you want
Brett,
to add anything to that?
No, I don't want to add anything, but I will say, how are you?
Busy and a little stressed, and I don't know. It's been getting better. Real quick, I want to throw out, we got a random kid-free day because like school starts tomorrow here where I'm at. So Kyrie's going back to school, but she ended up getting her friend wanted her to stay the night last night, so we got a random kid-free night, and we've been trying to go to the movies to watch that new horror movie together that has Allison Brie and Dave Franco. And unfortunately, our theater's already got that movie down to like 2 showtimes a day. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 10 p.m. And I feel like previews have gotten so long that like if the movie says 10, the movie's starting at 10:30.
Right. Yep.
And so that's a brutal time for someone who has to go to work the next day to go watch a movie. So instead, we opted to go see Weapons.
I saw it too. Let's talk about it.
Dude, I love Zach Kreger. So first and foremost, I've loved him since Whitest Kids You Know. And it's been so cool seeing him kind of move into this very different role. And I do like the comedy people moving into horror for a lot of reasons, because there are moments in these movies where you're like, that's genuinely funny. But then also the unnerving is like really unnerving. So I don't want to spoil the movie. But I'll tell you, I'm so glad I saw this in theaters, and a lot about the movie, both structure, story, everything, a lot of it surprised me. And it's one of the few times where I didn't, this is something I want to talk about when I talk about my game too. I've had a couple of experiences in a row where, for the most part, I've avoided being able to guess the twist, and that's been so great. Because Bring Her Back was also a great horror movie, but I knew what the fuck was going on first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I looked at my wife and said, this, and this is going to happen. And I was dead right.
You fuck up media for yourself. And then you're like, I hate when you do this. I love you, but I hate when you do this. Because you sit there and
Bring Her
you
Back
are
still
like,
excellent, by the way.
but you do this all the time where you're like, I've sat there for 15 hours with my notepad and I figured out the twist. So I like this game a little bit less. I'm like, no, motherfucker. I am obviously exaggerating for comedic effect. Let's
dude,
be serious.
Yeah,
here,
but if I actually did like write down everything and try to solve it, that would suck.
It would be terrible.
That would suck.
I would never watch a movie with you ever. I will say, I thought Weapons was super funny. Like there are two moments, but we're only going to talk about one of them, and it's when Archer wakes up and just goes, "What the fuck?"
Brilliant.
That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen, and then the whole ending sequence was so funny. I was like, "This is an awesome movie."
Yeah,
it was great.
It's a wild movie.
I knew Weapons was good because I took both of my parents to it, and we saw it at 10 p.m. like you were talking about, and both of my parents stayed awake, which means the movie was good.
Yeah, or at the very least engaging, right? It's like they're constantly like, what the fuck?
Good enough.
So that's awesome. I want to see Together, but if I'm being honest, of the two, I wanted to see Weapons more. Mm-hmm. So I'm not too upset with it, but my wife really wanted to see Together. She seemed to also enjoy Weapons, though, so that's good. We had a little bit of an annoying theater gag, but thankfully, since the movie kind of ended up being a little funny anyway, it stopped being as. But there were annoying ass teenagers just
sounds fun.
Constantly fucking talking at the beginning, and I'm like, okay, the movie actually is trying to set shit up right now, so I need y'all to shut the fuck up a little bit so I can see what the fuck's going on. So yeah, that part's annoying. You know, it's unfortunately young people don't seem to have any respect for the fact that people pay. My wife eventually got annoyed and said, "Shut up" at one of them, and It kind of mostly ended it. But when we were leaving the theater, they were walking behind us, and little girls were snickering like, shut up, and like trying to poke fun. And I almost turned around and said something, but my wife was like, it's not worth it.
That's why I hate being an adult, because I wish I could turn around and punch him in the face.
I legit just wanted to turn around and say, like, you seriously, like, you couldn't be respectful in the movie, and even though we're out now and I can see your face, you still can't be even a little more respectful. You still have to dig.
Actually, you put that detail in it, and I kind of respect them, because they went, you know who I am, and fuck you. And I'm like,
yeah,
you're an asshole, but okay, fair play.
All that said, though, it was great, and I gave up. I gave up. I had an impromptu date night with my wife, which is lovely, and I had a very good time. But I originally intended on playing more of my game yesterday, so I don't know if I would have had it beaten by now if that would have been the case, considering where I'm at. But I think I might have. Everyone I've talked to, when I say where I'm at, they're like, "Oh." So let's go ahead and scooch over into what we've been playing. So, Chris, as you know, this is the part of the show where we talk about what we've been playing so that other people can possibly find their next game, their next love. Maybe me and you can find a game that from talking about what we've been playing, what we've been doing, that we can might slide into next, or just sometimes maybe steer you off of a game that you thought you'd be into, but after you start hearing about it, you go, oh, maybe not. You have a couple of games on your list. I want to move through the quick ones that are a little more. Well, there's one. Well, there's two that aren't so surprising. Let's get your Balatro out of the way. You got another deck down.
Yeah, I did. Dude,
the Madman did it. What deck did you do?
It's so close. I did the Ghost deck, I think.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Nice.
So I've got three. I see the end of Completionist Plus, and then it's like, oh. Wait, there's Completionist plus. But like, I'm at a point where I'm like, I think I'm going to do it. And here's the thing I found out. If I can pull it off this year, 6,000 points. So, well, probably closer to 4,000 points because I've done most of it. But still,
that's a fair point. Yeah.
I've only got 1,800 of the potential 6,000. So,
yeah, it's a pretty big one.
It's a
That's
big
pretty,
one.
pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, there's nothing like a game accidentally like that. Balatro, we all knew was always going to be high. I remember how surprised I was when I played Curse to Golf last year, and I just chose it on a whim and played it, and then got the platinum. And then after getting the platinum, I logged on to True Trophies. I said, "Holy shit, this is worth like 3,600. That's crazy."
It's crazy how it worked because I don't think Kingdom Come is worth very much. It's going to take me just as long as Balatro.
Well, it's one of those things where it's almost like Elden Ring, where it's like, or even Bloodborne. It's like a lot of those games are hard to platinum, but the people who play those types of games get super into them, so they have a high platinum percentage.
I mean, it's 4,000, so
for Kingdom Come, that's pretty good.
Not bad at all.
That's not bad at all.
I'll definitely finish it. I don't know where you're getting 120 to 150 hours though.
Ooh.
But yeah, I don't have much to say about Balatro. I'm just going to continue updating when I beat Dex, and then one day I'll just come on with the platinum.
It won't even Curse to Golf is 4,500 points.
See, fuck you. It's worth more than fucking Kingdom Come. That's crazy.
It's a great game, though. I'm not saying it's better than Kingdom Come. I'm saying it's a great game. They're so different. I don't even know why you'd bother to compare them.
I wouldn't. So
yeah,
but yeah, I don't have much more to say about Balatro, but I'm getting to where I need to be. I'm getting excited. I love that game so much.
Love to hear it. All right. So you got Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 under your belt some more. And one notable thing is that Chris last time was like, I struggle to know whether I should recommend this to you because I could see you loving it or hating it. But then randomly throughout my work day, I look down at my phone and I see a message from Chris that goes, never mind, 100% recommend now. Something just happened and you'll fucking love it.
Yeah.
And then I got some other messages throughout the week of cool things that were like ways that the game allows you to do stuff that he thinks seem up my alley, and they do sound very, very me-coded. So how's the game coming along for you? Have you beat it yet?
No. Oh my God. No, I'm not.
I didn't think so. But one of the things that we talked about is there is a trophy for not eating meat. That was one of the things Chris talked about last episode. And unfortunately, somewhere in his playthrough, he accidentally ate meat, which means another playthrough is going to be in his sight eventually if he wants to become a platinum holder.
The thing with the second playthrough, first off of anything, like, yeah, I fucked that up. I don't know how. And it was bad because it's like one of these things where the trophy guide's like, check your thing every once in a while so you can reload a save. And I checked.
Well,
and I'm like,
first of all, how do you know? Is there like a thing that just tells you that you ate meat?
Yeah, it'll show you everything. That the game is very immersive. It shows you every type of food you ate, every herb you've picked, every type of fight you've taken, every time you've fought with a polearm or a pistol or a sword.
Cool.
So
very stat heavy.
Very stat heavy. So I'm looking through and I'm like, oh shit. And the worst part about it wasn't like I ate 10 pieces of meat or 15. I had one piece of meat that I just happened to have eaten. And so once I saw that, I'm like checking old saves. And by the time I got like 30 saves back, I was like, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth because I noticed after basically I got into the second act. So I'm in the second like town or whatever, which is basically Germany and Poland. And I'm there, which took this whole cutscene and stuff you have to do. And it's like an actual like mission, right? Versus what I've been doing, which is like clearing side missions and tasks and making sure I'm doing all of that. So I was just not going to start it over. It was one of these things where I had to make a choice of I can go all the way back and be pissed for 10 hours, or I can just start it again. And I think a lot like Skyrim, this game will not take me that long to play again, because what I'm doing now is like I'm following a guide, but not like a written one. It just shows all the missions that you should do and like what's highly missable, like how you get to these things. So it's not telling me how to do them unless I want to find that out, but that's not what I'm using the guide for. Because there's a trophy for doing everything basically, and stuff's missable and stuff's hard to get. So I feel like when I go into the next playthrough, especially having the knowledge of it, it'll take me like 20 hours, which is still long. I'm not discounting that that's long, but I don't even think I'm halfway through yet, and I'm at 60 hours. So that's just what my game clock says. Is my PS5 clock says 120, but I leave that shit on all the time.
Yeah, I assume it's one of those things where, and I get it, like the PS clock doesn't account for like being in a pause menu.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But the game does. It'll be like, oh, he's in a pause menu. Don't count that time. Yeah. It's interesting. It's like when handhelds, when you put certain games in sleep mode. Like there was a Gundam game on Vita where if you put it in sleep mode, it just kept counting.
Still counted.
And so like we had a dude who was in the Discord at one point who was like, he was like, my Gundam game says I've played 8,000 hours.
Well, it's like me and my brother used to think the playtime in our Pokemon games was cool, so we would just leave the Game Boys on when we went to bed. Plugged into the wall. There was the SPs. Like, oh, I'm at 9,999 hours. I'm like, played like 5 hours of this game.
Oh man.
But no, I don't know, man. It's so I didn't finish Clair Obscur. So take that for what it is. I never finished it. I still want to go back, whatever. I think KCD2 is my game of the year. And I don't think it's remotely close. And I said it last week, but even more this week, I don't understand why I like this game so much. Because everything this game does is what I hated about Red Dead. There was a mission I did,
but you did come to love Red Dead all the same.
Not for this shit. I'll tell you that.
You're right. You liked it in spite of.
You'll understand when I tell you what I'm about to tell you. So I just did this mission so that I needed to have this guy teach me about wine so that I could talk to this other guy and trick him into giving me wine saplings. So what the game required me to do was get a job at the vineyard. So what I did was
I like that.
You had to take from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. in game and pick weeds, carry the bags of weeds to very specific spots on the map. You had to go back and get more weeds, and these bags would fill up, all of this kind of stuff. I'm not joking when I tell you that I did that for the 10 in-game hours that I was required to do it, and I had no problem doing it at all.
Yeah. Like at some point you're just in the minutia and you're like, this is role playing, baby.
I was running through these things like, oh, there's thistle, pick that up. Oh, dandelions. I got to get all these dandelions up. There's a bag over there. Let me walk it all the way back. Now keep in mind, you're holding this bag over your shoulder. You're walking slower and I'm walking my ass up to the spot and I'm putting it away where it's supposed to go. And it was so funny because I finish it and I talked to the guy who gave me the quest and he's like, that was an exemplary job. You did so good. I'm giving you a bonus. And in my heart, I was like, I fucking deserved that.
Chris worked a full shift and then got off and came home and was like,
I'm going to work more.
Sir, yes, sir.
It's just crazy because this game has you carrying things over your shoulders so much. And I don't know. I just don't mind it. I just really like playing it.
Yeah, like one of the things I've heard a lot about this game, even before you started playing it, I was listening to some dude, it's like a video essay thing but he briefly mentioned the game and a side quest, I think toward the very beginning of the game. I won't go into what it is. But point being, he was talking about it's full of the minutia, but it embraces the minutia instead of trying to be like, well, we want you to do it, but we're trying to constantly soften it. It's like, no, the game's like full sail. Like, no, you're going to do the things that you would have to do if you had to do this in real life. And as insofar as any video game can, right? And so it's like their commitment to the bit starts changing your relationship to the bit to where you kind of go like, oh, I am committed to the bit as well now. And I'm going to join them in seeing this through until me and the bit are one.
Yeah. Dude,
and I guess that's a real thing though, in the sense of if you can pull it off, and it is dangerous, because I'm going to be real. I can completely understand why you look at someone and you tell them, I love this game. I spent 10 in-game hours. Let's call 10 in-game hours 30 minutes.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. I don't know if that's accurate, but let's just call it 30 minutes. Telling someone that for 30 minutes you went to work and it wasn't even the main point of the game.
No, it's a side quest that didn't give me much.
Is a thing where I can imagine someone hearing that without any of the rest of the thing. So from a limited context situation and going, why would I find that fun? Why would I find that immersive? Why would I find that? So a lot of games do this thing, and this isn't me down-talking the games anyway. One of the things I loved about Greedfall was its inclusion of something that felt more like traditional BioWare RPG style stuff, but still trying to be like, but we do know that gamers are a little more modern, and so we want to cut down on some of the tedium, and so we're going to find a kind of middle ground. So it was like, oh, there's an area where you need to get into a winery, and if you look around the map in the right spots, you can find an outfit to put on your character so that when you put it on and walk through, you won't immediately get stopped. But if you have to talk to anybody, then you still have to have the stats that back up your ability to fool people with charisma checks and all these different things. And so it's like a lot of that's there, but it's still softening the way that you approach it in comparison to what older RPGs would have done. And so I like that. That's cool. And in a way, I think it sticks with what modern games are trying to do, which is make sure that you still get the feeling of having role played, but being able to do so in a way where at the end of, let's call it an hour play session, you still have that feeling of, oh, I got something done. Whereas there's a worry that the way that you feel that in a game like Greedfall is not how you're going to feel in a game like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, but Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, if it manages to get you, is going to be a situation where you go, fuck yeah, I just played for 45 minutes and I picked the shit out of those weeds and I carried those bags and I got the job done.
I got some grushing out of it.
Yeah, well, I do get it's I think it makes the game a little less accessible, but I think for the people who do manage to fall into its charm, it's able to pull you in so much further because of its commitment, where most games aren't willing to commit because they're too scared of the chance that you'll walk away from it or that you won't even buy it to begin with.
Yeah. And it's one of these things where, like, maybe this is a hot take. I think this is the only role-playing game I've ever actually played.
I kind of get what you mean.
And I mean that in a literal sense. Where, like,
the play Morrowind, and it's not quite the same, but I think you'll be like, okay, yeah. Bethesda at one point in time actually did care about role playing.
Yeah, because that's my thing. Is like, I'm playing this game and I am Henry of Skalitz. I'm not Chris of fucking Connecticut. Who's in the mask of Henry of Skalitz.
Same thing, right? Like, that's one of the great things about Morrowind is that, like, Oblivion and then therefore Skyrim, and I would imagine that we can all know that we're going to see this in Elder Scrolls 6, you're going to be a chosen one. Guess what the fuck you are in Morrowind? A prisoner that got off of a boat.
Yeah.
That's it. It's all you are. Now, you go on to do some cool shit, but it's not because you're the chosen one.
Right. You just are dope as fuck.
Yeah, you just do cool shit, and you're like, oh, I'm fucking sick. But that game is, like, very different. I wouldn't be surprised if Kingdom Come kind of approaches it like this, but still through some sense of modernization, because there's voice acting and stuff like that. But I mean, like I told you, one of Morrowind's big things is that you don't get a point on a map that tells you to go to it. A person will be like, oh, I lost my shoe in the old mines north of the sign that goes to this town. And then you got to go, oh shit, I guess I got to go look north of that sign that goes towards this town and see if I can find an old cave.
Yeah, see, that's cool. Sounds too much to me, but I don't know.
It depends, right? And that's what I'm saying. It depends on what you want to go for. But another thing that I bet Kingdom Come does as well is, like, probably forces you to actually follow, like, some of the things you do are going to lock you out of other options and other things you can do, because there's consequences to your actions.
Well, that's why I
think modern games have really pulled away from, is that they're too afraid that someone's going to feel bad that because they chose to be a vampire in the vampire guild, that they don't get to go be a priest in the priest guild. So they just let you do both. And it's like, yeah, but that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Right. Exactly.
And it's like, okay, cool. If you make it to where there's a guild that's vampire hunters and then there's a guild that makes you a vampire, that would be cool if when you are a vampire hunter, they know you're a vampire and they have an uneasy alliance with you and the game can account for that. But that's not how they approach it, because that's not what they're going for. They just want everyone to be able to do everything. And one of the things I miss most about games like Kingdom Come and like a lot of modern RPGs to that I think games are getting back to it, and that's a good thing. But Morrowind has this as well, where it's like, if you follow a route, you are going to piss other people off or kill other people that are connected to other storylines, and you will just naturally be locked out of them. Not because of some dumb morality system. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Infamous. But at the end of the day, being locked out of a mission just because I chose the good mission is not quite as nuanced as, well, this person doesn't like you because your political interests because of this are a little different than what they were aiming for. Therefore, you attack this group. And, it's like there's a lot more dots to be connected in games like Morrowind and Kingdom Come that feel rewarding so long as you follow them. And modern AAA games are really terrified to put that much weight on a player.
Yeah. I don't know. It does do some of that. Like, it's a side quest, so it's not a huge spoiler, but there was a sword fighting club. And so you fight this one dude who's not in the sword fighting club in the middle of the street. The other sword fighting gets mad because they're the sword fighting club, and you can choose a side. And then I chose the funny German man, so the other side hates me and won't talk to me anymore. And it's awesome that they do stuff like that. And I don't know. I think the crazy immersive stuff works because it's incentivized throughout all of the game. Right, like I've focused a lot on
instead of trying to cherry pick it in one specific spot.
Right. So like I've focused a lot on alchemy because it's kind of fun. It's very immersive. You're putting the wine and you're boiling and you're flipping sand dials and all this kind of stuff to get everything right. But what I love about it is, like, if you want to do the best possible alchemy, you go pick fresh herbs. But what you can do throughout this game, and I've done this a lot because I have a perk that I need herbs on me, you can go dry the herbs so the herbs don't expire anymore, but they make longer. Worse potions, right? And that's really cool.
Love it.
And it's stuff like, because I've made such powerful potions, like something I was telling you, which I did this and I was like, oh, Brett would love this. And I was doing a mission and I kept getting killed by this bandit group. There was like 8 of them. And so what I did was I waited till night, I snuck in, and I poured a bunch of poison into their communal food or whatever. And then I woke up and then left. I did a bunch of stuff because I was like, this either needs to work or I need to come back later and level up. And so I'm doing a different quest. And then all of a sudden it goes, objective complete. You've killed the toothless guy or whatever his name was. I was like, that was cool as fuck.
Yeah.
I wasn't even close to it anymore. But just as the game world worked, he ate the food and died when he woke up. It's just how it worked.
And you know what's really weird also is that, like, I think games sometimes have gotten to this point where a lot of modern games have hit this point of thinking, like, the only way that you can give someone a sense of size of a world feeling big is to make it genuinely big. And there's something really important to be said about RPGs that really just commit to the bit. This is a much softer form, but I think it goes towards something. There are a number of times in RuneScape, old school RuneScape in particular, that I remember just being like, because of their commitment to make you explore the world to complete this act, it's kind of cool how much it's like, oh, the game's really not that big, but by forcing you to move around and do these moving parts on your own, it gives a sense of cohesion that makes it feel bigger than games that are actually bigger, but not really very cohesive, and the size of what they're doing don't really matter. And to that end, like, there's some quests where it's a simple quest, and one of my favorite things to do in RuneScape, and this is where, like, they have a game mode called Hardcore Iron Man, where you can't, like, actually I think Iron Man in general, you can't trade, so you have to do everything the legitimate way because you can't buy anything from other players and you can't trade. So when you go to do a quest like Birthday Cake, or Chef's Helper, I think is what it's called, Chef's Assistant, you're trying to make a birthday cake for the Duke of Lumbridge. And so you got to go and you got to find where the chickens are that are across the bridge in a goblin infested zone. And you got to go get a chicken, and you can get an egg from it. Then you got to come back and you got to go and pick some wheat. Then you got to walk yourself to the mill so that you can go up the stairs, drop the wheat into the mill, go back down when it says ground, and then pick it up, and you have to have a pot to put it in. And it's like little things like that made that game world feel so much bigger than that game really is. The game's actually super tiny. but it feels right because it commits to making every place feel like there's a purpose for everything in it. And so you get that sense of, oh, the cohesion makes it feel big. And that's why some games when we were young that really weren't that big felt big, because it was like, oh, everything in them mattered. But then you get these massive worlds where it's like, yeah, but like at least 30% of this map doesn't matter, maybe more. And it's like, it's just here so that they can say our map is 3.9 square kilometers, and it's like, I don't give a shit. I care about what I do on that landmass, you know.
One of the things I love about KCD and its map is that, like, I'm just guessing, but I would imagine like it's a big map because it's like a real like 20 miles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where it's like I had this thing today where I was over encumbered, but I had so much stuff that I wanted to sell that I'm like, I'm just going to walk back. And it took me 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And this is not a scenario like Skyrim where like you barely move. The only thing you can't do is sprint or ride your horse. You can jump, you can walk normal speed, you just can't sprint. So the normal walking speed was about a mile from where I was. It took about 20 minutes. Like, and that was the thing to me where it's like the map I don't think is big in terms of like Skyrim, where it's like, oh, you're exploring a country. It's like you're exploring like this area, but it's big to you because to Henry, this 20 miles
movement throughout
it's all he knows.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't want to say too much more, take up too much more time, but
yeah,
it's my game of the year. Like right now, it's my game of the year. So.
Well, let's shift the gears over to a very, very different style of RPG, and let's talk about your time with Xenoblade, because you've been on your Switch too a lot this past 2 weeks, or at least some. So you started Xenoblade. So this is Xenoblade 1, the remaster that they handled for Xenoblade Chronicles for the Switch. He's playing it on Switch 2. I'm assuming it looks and plays better than it does on Switch 1.
I don't know if it looks better because it looks pretty shitty, but it runs at like a solid 60 FPS.
At least says that.
I don't think it's running past like 720p. Like I really
do you mean like sheer resolution, or do you mean like character models? Because I actually thought from what I saw, the remaster itself looked pretty detailed. Not resolution, but
they look fine. It's an old game, so I'm not going to knock it that it's got blocky heads, but it's on a 2025 console and it's got to be at 720p. So I expect a little more, but I'm also playing docked. Or handheld. I don't play docked with the Switch. That's dumb. So that's part of it. But no, I think it's really good.
It's way different. Like
it's a totally different type of game. But I like it. I wanna. It's one of these things where like I want to play it and I want to finish it. I just wonder when I'm gonna fall off. It very much feels like one of those games, but I do really like it. Like I said, so. I'm of two minds. I think the gameplay is really fun. I like the story so far. There was actually some stuff that happened. I don't know if you've played it or any of it.
I haven't at all. Mm-hmm.
But there's some stuff that happened right at the beginning where I was like, am I playing a Nintendo game?
Yeah, it's part of Xenogears and Xenosaga, which is a pretty wild series. So
I know,
Nintendo just kind of picked it up. But yeah.
Right at the start, some person gets like skewered. And I was like, what the fuck? Like I'm seeing this right now. Playing on my Switch, so it was cool. I like it. I like the story. I think Shulk is a cool character, but I'm not far enough to say too much more than that. But I am playing it. It's fun, so I like it.
All right. Well, while we're thinking about Nintendo, before we get on to the final game that we're going to talk about here, which is more of a beta experience than anything, Mario Odyssey.
Dude, I don't know how I feel about this game.
Well, because you're not really much of a platformer person to begin with.
I'm not.
So what happened here? It was this opportunity.
Yeah, it was on sale.
Okay.
And I was like, Mario games don't go on sale, so I'll buy it. I got that in Thousand Year Door. They're both like $40. So I'm like,
Paper fine. Mario, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's weird because I have these moments with it where like the first night I was playing it, I was like, I don't expect to play too much. And then I like had a really great 2 hours. And then I put it down and I picked it back up and I was like, this is fucking boring. Like, so I don't know.
Okay.
I just I like it like at certain points. Like if I'm in the mood for it, it's great. but I don't see it as a game where I'm going to be like, oh, I really just got to get the moon shards. So I'm going to go in there, even though I'm not super feeling it. It's not going to be a game like that for me. But I think it's fun. I like the like cappy mechanic. I picked up the T-Rex, and I thought that was cool that I'm just running around with a T-Rex, a photorealistic T-Rex in a Mario game, which was a little odd, but it was cool. Like, I like it. It just has platformers, unless they're hard, just don't engage me very much. And this is very easy. And there's some cool parts of it of like, okay, how do I get to this area? Because I see that there's purple coins and I see that there's a moon piece. So how do I get down there? And that's where the cool challenge is. But in terms of like the bosses are trivial, like all of that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I see the appeal of it. I just need it to be 10 times harder for me to like truly feel engaged by it. You saw it. Like I really liked Crash 4 or 5 or whatever.
Yeah, Crash 4.
But like,
and that is a game with a surprisingly high difficulty curve.
Yeah,
it's actually like, one of the biggest complaints for it is that like part of the thing that people like about Crash games is that they are a little hard, and they're hard in a way that's still rewarding to 100%. One of the biggest complaints about Crash 4 is that it is nigh impossible to 100%. It's so fucking hard to do that 99% of players are just not going to. And Crash was never that hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's just that the curve keeps me engaged. It's why I like something like Ninja Gaiden, where I wouldn't play something else. I don't know. It's just the same reason that, like, with all due respect to PlayStation fans, please don't get mad at me again, but I thought Astro Bot was boring. I'm like, this is easy, and I just don't care.
Yeah, no, I agree with you in the sense of, okay, I like platformers more than you, but I also agree that I find platformers the most fun when they're difficult.
Yeah, and that's why to me...
So to that end, I always thought the same. My favorite times I had with Astro Bot were the levels where I was sweating, and I'm like, oh, this is actually difficult. The challenge levels are really good.
Yeah, and I never got that far because I was bored.
And then I think the other thing is like, and I'm not saying Mario doesn't do this. Mario probably does this too. I've just never been able to click with Mario. It's just how it is. There's something to be said about novelty in platforming games. I do like a sense of novelty, and there's a number of levels within Astrobot that are very novel that I'm like, this is a cool idea. I'm glad that they chose to do this.
I don't know.
There's that, but
to me, it's a genre that's you can be very reductive about. And I feel like when you're reductive and so you're talking to someone who loves them, they can't really come back with anything that kind of changes my opinion on it, right?
No, I agree.
Like, to me, all a platformer is pressing a bunch and going forward, and that's not fun. But like the difference with Super Meat Boy is I have to press a bunch at the exact right time. Whereas like even something with Mario is like I can fuck up my jump and probably recover. I could do that in Astrobot. If you fuck up your jump in Super Meat Boy, your run's over. And that's where, to me, it's more interesting, where it's like, oh, I fell off this cliff, but I've managed to jump all the way up the wall for some reason. Or, oh, I fell off, but I used my little jets on the bottom of my Astrobot feet, and now I'm back where I need to be. Like, yeah, I need more than that to be engaged in it. I need to be picking weeds for 30 minutes of real time to be entertained by video games. That's all I'm saying.
If Mario does not let me pick my herbs,
how will I ever save Princess Peach without Thistle?
Oh boy. What about the parsley and sage? So I'm with you, because I think a conversation that we had is that I think you sent a message to me like, hey, do you have any interest in Mario Kart?
I have been playing that too.
It was something along those lines, and my response to you was, absolutely not. Mario Kart's super mid, and I actually genuinely struggle why people like it so much. I can't quite understand it. And then Chris goes, oh, well, fuck me, I'm enjoying it. And so I decided to be a little more realistic with it. But Chris, it's the same thing. The thing I don't like about Mario Kart, and it's what I don't like about plenty of kart racers, the difficulty curve is so all over the place because it's not really a skill-based game, and it's the type of game that can get chaotic in a party environment, and then someone who completely sucks ass at racing games can come in first place because of the dumbass item environment and economy that they have. And that's because that's what they filter toward. They know that people like that. So I understand to a very small degree, and I still don't enjoy it, but I understand why Mario Kart is a big game in a party environment. What I don't understand is watching people just play Mario Kart single player, because I have tried and tried. I played, like I told you, I got 20 minutes into Mario Kart 8 on Switch because I played a little bit of it on Wii U from a friend let me borrow it, and I couldn't click with it. I tried again on Switch. I played about an hour, but 20 minutes into that hour, I was like, I remembered why I don't like this. Like the sense of speed is super fucked up. It's not hard. There's no challenge. There's not a lot to go off to. There's not a balance of luck and skill. And that's why I always go towards my favorite kart racers. Like my go-to is always like Mod Nation Racers, is this idea that you're encouraged to drift because it builds a boost meter. That's not that different than Mario Kart now, to be fair anyway. But when you build the boost meter, then the boost is yet again another currency that you have to consider, because you can use it to boost and get it further ahead on with a crazy sense of speed that's harder to control. But if you save some boost and you time it just right, whenever someone goes to hit you with an item, you can use some of your boost gauge to give you a temporary shield, and it uses quite a bit of it, and you still have to time it because it only pulls the shield up for like 1 second, not even. So if you don't time it just right, you wasted boost and still got hit. But it's little things like that I love. And you don't have items in that game that are geared towards being like the shell items, where someone in almost last place can blue shell the leader, fuck the whole game up, and suddenly be in first. I don't find that to be compelling. I don't find that to be fun. I'm glad that people enjoy it. That adds to why I talked about Mario Kart being the game to move us to $80. Seemed fucking asinine to me. But that's insofar as that's what you're talking about. I'm the same with kart racers. I want them to be challenging, for them to be fun to me, and if they're not, I don't care about them.
That's even what's funny about Mario Kart is like I do enjoy it. Like I quote unquote I rolled credits on it or whatever, but like I see no reason to play it anymore. You know?
Yeah, and that's why when people are like, again, I'm sure I have said, I played 500 hours of Terraria, and you're like, are you fucking insane? Terraria sucks. That probably happens, and I get it. But in the general sense, I do have a hard time when people are like, well, I'm gonna play like hundreds of hours, thousands of hours of Mario Kart, so I don't care if I spend $80 on it. That is like,
what do you mean
to me?
Like, what are you doing in and that's the thing, like the open world is like, it's a funny, like, cute inclusion, but I'm not going to say there's nothing to do, because someone will be upset because there is technically things to do, but there's nothing to do.
There's nothing compelling to do.
Yeah, it's
nothing
like
that stays compelling long enough to really give a sense of exploration.
And it's like there's these challenge things where I think you can unlock costumes or stickers or whatever, but like it's just drive up and hit the ramp properly, at least for the ones I've found so far. So it's like, oh, this is super hard. Oh my God. So to me, it's like, okay, cool. Like I got a costume for baby Rosalina. That's neat. What? Okay. Like, I don't know. I was having fun. I could see it was pre-installed on the Switch, which I thought was actually kind of cool. That
is cool.
When I pulled the Switch out and I'm like setting it up and I'm like searching the box, I'm like, where's fucking Mario Kart? Then I turn it on and it goes, well, this virtual game card has been loaded onto your Switch. And I'm like, sick. All right, cool.
That is pretty neat. Yeah.
But either way, I don't have shit else to say about either of those games other than that they're both fun. But if I'd paid $80 for Mario, I would have been fucking livid. Or Mario Kart.
But instead you paid $50. And like you said, it was the only model you could get. So in a way, it was basically free for you.
It was, if I wanted to Switch, it's free. So,
all right. So the last game you have here is a big one for a lot of people, including some people on our Discord, Battlefield 6 beta.
Yeah, I think
You're not traditionally a Battlefield player, right? Or have you played more than I'm aware of?
I've played more than you're probably aware of, but I don't know that I'm as big a multiplayer shooter guy in general now.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like this game. I think it's really good, and I don't want to play it ever again. It's just not. It's just, I'm just good. It has nothing to do with the game. I'm just not that guy anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm playing it, and I'm like, this is really cool, and it looks really great.
But I want to go pick weeds for 30 minutes.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like I enjoyed the time I had, and it's one of these things where it's like I like sniping in Battlefield. So you hit those shots, and you're like, oh, I'm fucking awesome. But like, I was just playing it, and I was playing by myself, so that doesn't necessarily help. But I'm like, this is so cool. Like, I really like all these mechanics. I just don't want to do this, you know? And it might change, like, if I pick it up and my brother has it and Blake has it and
sure.
You don't count. Like any people, like if I have people to play with.
At least you know, Chris.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you. If I had people to play with, I could see it being different. But like, I'm just not the guy who's going to load into a multiplayer game by myself anymore. I don't think, because I don't even do it with Call of Duty. Like I have Black Ops 6. I played like a day of it, and I'm like, all right, man, like have at it. You know, I don't know. So I think it's really good. I think it's going to do very well. It's not going to take out Call of Duty. Anyone saying that is insane. But I think it's going to be a very good Battlefield, and people should be excited. But I don't know. It depends. Like I could see it if it's something where the story is really good and the platinum's not too arduous and people get it, that it's something I pick up. But like right now, I left it being like, this is somebody else's good time. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of how I have to approach games like Mario Kart. It has to just be that this is just not for me. And it doesn't matter how I feel about it. The numbers speak for the fact that people like it. And I don't care that people like it. And that'd be a different story if you were going around being like, oh, it wasn't a game for me. But if you like Battlefield, then you go fuck yourself.
No.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. And I really am not saying that about Mario Kart. I am saying that I wish I understood. But in the general sense, it's like I get that different games are for different people. And what I love about, you know, a janky ass Tainted Grail might be someone's like worst nightmare for video games.
Yeah. I mean, most people who heard me talk about KCD2 never want to play that game, you know?
Yeah.
So, which is why I don't recommend it to anyone except for you, because you're kind of the same as me in that way. But we'll see.
So we have one final game.
I want to hear about your game. This is a big one.
I have to start this conversation very quickly with, you decided to step away from this game. I have finally decided to download and play a game I've been hearing about all year. And it was starting to be one of those things where you hear about a game a lot and you keep being told how good it is. And you're like, okay. But you kind of start believing like there's no way it's as good as the version in my head is shaping up to be. And I was really worried that this game was going to be like this. But I'm happy to say that Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is the closest I think I've been in a while to for people who've been listening to the show for a long time. You may recall Saul was late to start Nier Automata, even though he got it day one. He played like less than an hour. Something else happened. He kept playing it. I think it was Dark Souls 3. Just kept playing Dark Souls 3. But he came back to Nier like 8 months after release. And when he played it, he was like, holy shit. I get it. Like I get why everyone loves it. And that's exactly where I am with Expedition 33 is I'm playing it and I'm like, even though for me, more so than Saul, this game kind of is not what I would go to in any real sense as a game that's immediately flagged for me. And yet it excels in pretty much everything that it's doing. And I mean, both within the game sense and as a product in the games industry at this time, I think that it's really well priced for what it offers while having the ability to play the game and straight line it pretty well and enjoy it for that, or go wide with it and really explore the world and get more time out of it and more value out of it. I think it's also a great way to show how someone can come in and can make a game at a much smaller budget. And I think very quickly I play this game and I go, yeah, maybe not every single little micro facial expression is coming across but it's hard to be pressed for more animations to sell the very emotionally driven story that this game is putting forth with the models that they did. And so I think it's really cool to kind of come to this game and experience it. And I think this is true like Nier Automata. Nier Automata was not a AAA level game when it came out, but I think it exceeded what a lot of AAA games were doing by bringing a lot of great stuff to the table. And that's what Expedition 33 is doing. So Chris, I have to ask, you were very excited for this game. I didn't think you had finished it, but you confirmed that for me today without even being asked. But I do want to probe a little bit. Can you qualify why you dropped it? Like, are you aware of why you dropped it, or did it just kind of happen?
Yeah, it just kind of happened. To me, it was a game. I don't know how to say it because I don't have any issues with the game itself.
Yeah.
You know, but there was just something about it as I was playing where I don't know if I got stuck or something, but like I turned it off and never turned it on again.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have anything negative to say about it. I think, you know, obviously it probably wouldn't have been my game of the year at this point, but I do think there's a lot to it, and it's a fantastic game. It's going for what it wants, and it's doing it right every time. To me, I just didn't feel like playing it anymore.
Yeah, that's interesting. But I get it. It's to kind of go back to my experience with the game. This is true. This is true of Persona 5 Royal as well. While I was playing Persona 5 Royal, there was about a 30-hour window where I was like, you know what? I like this game's take on, you know, how it's choosing to kind of sell the turn-based idea and how it's trying to twist on it to still make it interesting and cool. I like what it's doing. And then eventually, like I told you, I got to that point where I started feeling like the juice wasn't worth the squeeze for me in particular. And I'm happy to say that a lot of the ideas, like this game's very Persona coded in how it approaches turn-based, in the fact that you have a gun. The gun is a secondary thing that you use separately, and it can combo into what you're trying to do. So I see a lot of that in here, but I am very happy with how this game chooses to. One of the things I go to often with turn-based is I always mention that more modern games that I've liked are like South Park and the Stick of Truth, where when you're going to attack, if you hit a button at the right time, you can make your attack better. And if you go and you hit a button at the right time, you can weaken the enemy's attack against you. And I like that this game just goes so much further. And it's not just that you can dodge or that you can dampen a blow. You can straight up completely miss a blow. Or if you really want to be ballsy and techy with it, you can counter, and you can just full-on counter a blow. And I really like that system because it's kind of high risk, high reward, but it keeps you way more engaged to the point where, like, typically when I'm playing turn-based games, this isn't a huge deal, but there's kind of the understanding that I could just, if I'm not actively needing to play, I can set the controller down and not worry about it. And even if the enemy's attacking me, I can still set the controller down because there's not really anything I can do to stop it. And one of the things I really like about this game is that idea of being like, my wife's like, oh, can I do something real quick? And I'm like, I need just a second until it comes back to being my turn, because anytime it's not my turn in combat, I need to be on the ready, making sure that I either dodge to minimize damage, perfect dodge to gain some AP. Maybe I want to try and counter, or maybe I want to parry because I'll get AP from parry, and if I parry good enough the entire way through, I'll be able to do a full counter attack. Maybe I want to do that because one of my things is if I counter attack, I get to heal, and I don't want to have to waste part of my turn trying to heal. So if I get it here, and then I have this skill on these other people that if I'm healing from somebody else, I can steal some of their heal to gain on my own. So it's like I'm healing the whole team. And I think that the algebra that game kind of, or calculus, whatever you want to call it, that game has you playing with all that is very fun. I think to pick those systems is really fun. It's like a cool way for you to kind of augment both your abilities and your stats while still letting you lean into a build when it actually comes to your strict level stats. So yeah, from a gameplay standpoint, I think it's so cool to see a game kind of be everything. And we've seen this a few times. I'm not saying that this is anything too crazy new, but in a world where you still have Square Enix being like, we don't know if we can necessarily can say that we're going to do a Final Fantasy game that's a mainline Final Fantasy number title that's going to be turn-based again, and then you have this game just being a Final Fantasy game modernized. And it's like, even I really almost groaned the first time it put me in the overworld.
Oh, really?
And within about 5 minutes, I was like, no, this is great. This is really cool. I like this a lot. And then you keep going, and then as it keeps, I think that the way they build that out is cool. That there's a sense of adventure that I feel like even old Final Fantasy games didn't really have. There's really a reason to explore the overworld more so than some of the older Final Fantasy games. There is still areas that you don't want to go to because you're under level. There's bosses that you can run into. They don't tell you anything, but you go to start the fight, and then you get hit, and you're like, oh yeah, there's no way. I'm doing like 3 damage to this dude, and he's hitting for 9,999. And so that kind of playoff is really nice. I like that. I like this layered approach to where as you're in the overworld with different characters and with different abilities, you have different layers of the overworld and how you can approach it. And then lastly, and I think most importantly, the characters in this game are fantastic. The story knows, like you said, it knows what it's trying to do, and it's leaning fully into it. I think the story and the characters that are supporting it are really fun. If you've played the game and you've gotten to Eskia, I assume that you got to Eskia. He is fucking awesome, and he might be my favorite character in the whole game. He's just weirdly whimsical, and I think he makes every scene that he's in better. He's weird, and I love going to camp and having a chance to talk to people and learn more about it. I think one of the only things that actually does feel a little janky in the game is being in the camp and going to talk to someone, and then it'll do this preamble, and then it'll be like, do you want to spend time with them? And then it's just like, you walk up to them while they're here. It's like, I was just talking to this bitch. You could have just left the preamble out, and I just walk up to her, and then that, you could have actually put, like, if I'm walking up to Mael in the river, put her in the river, make me walk over to her and then spend time with her. And the cutscene starts there because I approached her. Then you don't have to say, well, you were just talking to Mael, but now he walks over to Mael. Okay. That's like one of the only things where I'm like, I feel like this was a limitation on time or something where they're like, it's not that important if we fix this, but it is a little weird.
Well, it's kind of like how Sam goes to sleep before he takes a shower. It's
true.
Weird. It's weird.
Yeah, true.
But I'm glad you like it. It sounds like you're really enjoying it.
I am very much enjoying it. And one of the other things that I felt was a little bit of I think it became more of a pain to deal with in Persona because the game was so long and the way they choose to do it, right? You have certain days that you can do certain things to certain people. I kind of like that this is almost like a mixture of Persona with Baldur's Gate 3 when you go to camp, where it's like, you're still getting to, at the camp, walk around and talk to people and maybe learn some more information, but then you also get to spend time with them in a character way that builds your relationship, and that's a stat that gives you new moves with those people. And that's been cool to see because I think it's a little more my speed to have it be something that the game will occasionally push you to camp on your own, and then otherwise when you're in the overworld, you can just go to camp and create more opportunities to spend time with these characters. So yeah, it's very good. I cannot wait to get further into it. I'm pretty far from what I understand. So I wouldn't be surprised if I have it beat within the next coming days. And then the question is am I going to stick around with it and platinum it? My gut would tell me right now, yes. But it depends because I've still not looked at the trophy guide. I don't know what it's asking of me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't get that far.
Well, I'll tell you this, Chris. You've been playing Kingdom Hearts 1, or you were, right?
I was.
At first,
I will go back.
At first, I even said this in the Discord, and I still mostly think it's true, but in a way that I'm a little more like, I like it in a weird way. I thought early on when there was little areas where it clearly was trying to make me platform, I thought, who the fuck put platforming in this game? This movement system is not made for platforming. I still mostly agree with that, but this game is so charming in its sense of exploration and its sense of movement that it's kind of hard to knock it, because Kingdom Hearts 1 has some weird platforming moments because it's trying to do a little bit more than just be run to this area, do this thing. It's like, no, you can jump around a few things and do a weird race and also do a what looks like a Halo Forge map with people just throwing in-game assets up, and you have to try and platform up them at the Jestro beaches. Like, they're weird inclusions, but even the spots, like there's a mansion in this game that you can sometimes go to for a reason. And there's an area in there where I was like, this just feels like Hollow Bastion in Kingdom Hearts 1 in a good way, where I'm like, the dumb platforming I need to go get this item is kind of it's charming. Mm-hmm. It's hard to look at it and be mad because the game kind of just has a charm about it. And I don't know if that's just the young people who are hungry, who are finally getting to do their own thing, because I do think that the idea for this game is incredibly original and really cool. And it's nice to see that, from what I understand, like, the game is not better because of the circumstances in which it was made, but it is cool to look at this game, so far as I have played it, through the lens of, so this was just some people who were at Ubisoft making Ubisoft's normal Ubisoft formula game and being like, there's got to be more to gaming than this. And then went off and basically made the most anti-Ubisoft game that I've ever seen.
Also true.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
So to that end, I was like, good for them. And also, if you look at the development, this game, realistically, this game was kind of developed in 4 years. And this is a lot of game for 4 years. Now, really, it started in 2018, but a lot of that was trying to seek funding, trying to actually pull a team together while they're doing that, working on the concepts. But I think if you really look at a team like this now, if this team can keep making games that do something new and are interesting, and they don't have to worry about building the team more or finding funding because they have those things locked down, I'm really curious to see what a team like this can do in 4 more years. That's
Clear
going to be interesting.
Expedition 34.
Well, because we're getting to that point, right, where it's like, I don't know that I want it to be a sequel. I don't really think, I actually am going to go ballsy here. I think you don't need to sequelize this game. They're not saying you can't. I haven't beat it. I don't even know what that could look like. But give me another cool, unique, original idea and just make it in 4 years and be okay with that. That's like what I like about Don't Nod. Like, all their games are just completely separate, cool ideas. Sucks that they're probably not going to make those anymore, because even though that game is incredible, Banishers they didn't do great. It's a PS Plus game this month, though, so go check that out.
Yeah, anyway, play Banishers.
We can stop talking about Expedition 33, but I am so glad that I am playing it, and I understand why there's hype around it. And it's very refreshing in a time where it's interesting why so many games have been refreshing this year. And they're all for reasons that they're different than what the AAA games market's doing, but they're all different in different ways. So it's like, I can love Tainted Grail and what it's doing for RPGs in a completely different way to how Expedition 33 is doing something for RPGs and gaming in general. And that's pretty neat. And then coupling that with how you're looking at Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, it's like, it's just a good year for RPGs is what it sounds like.
It is definitely a good year for RPGs. We're rocking them right now. I'm playing too many of them.
That you run into that potential in the weirdest way. I've waited all this time for Lost Soul Aside. I kind of hope Lost Soul Aside is like a 15-hour cool action game, like Devil May Cry 3.
That would be sick.
That'd be fucking awesome. I don't think it's gonna be, but I'm very okay with it being that. Totally. Look, this is me making light fun of the game. I've been very excited for it. I think it looks cool, but I like to call this game totally not Final Fantasy 15.
I get that.
That's totally not Noctis.
It's Noct, who I think it is.
Noctis.
Well, hell yeah, brother. I'm glad you're playing Expedition.
Hey, thanks for buying it.
You're welcome.
Also, this is a good time for me to... I think Chris is trying to sneak install games on my system so that he can force me. Basically, I have one less excuse as to why I should, He sent me a message yesterday ago. He goes, hey, I think I accidentally sent something to download to your PlayStation. Sorry. And then he said, well, it's Night Rain. So he goes, maybe that's not a big deal. And I logged on today and I saw it on there. So you did. It's on my system. And I thought to myself, it's a smart way to try and push someone, to nudge someone towards playing something you want them to play.
It's just like, way harder.
If you account share, just kind of be like,
Oops. Yeah. The thing is, like, on the web app, I bought it on my computer, not on the PS5. So like you have to choose which one to download it. And I'm like, oh, I think I hit the wrong one because it hasn't started yet.
And
So
the
like,
one
well,
that says BB was not obvious to you?
Dude, I didn't even consider that you named it. I just was
Yeah.
like, that's the one. Because mine's
That's
just
it.
PS4294 or whatever.
Yeah. All I did was put BB dash in front of it. So mine's like PS5 dash BB dash 201 or some shit like that, you know? So,
Yeah.
and
Well,
really the only reason I did that is so that whenever I download from the app and look at it, I can just go, yeah, that one.
Yeah, makes sense.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep, which I know you already have it installed, but I kind of was like, I can just keep sending Kingdom Hearts 1. Slowly but surely.
I will say I did tell Sean, like, because we were playing Night Rain. I don't have anything to say, and it's good, but I don't have anything to say. And I texted him, I'm like, don't expect me to play too much because I want to finish Kingdom Come before Trails, and I also want to get Kingdom Hearts in there. And he was like, well, you could play Kingdom Hearts at any time. I'm like, you don't understand. I'm into Kingdom Hearts now. I'm already running a risk by not playing it instead of KCD2. So I'm not
by not playing it now.
We're not putting this off for like 2 years because I will not do it. There's a good chance I don't do it now. Sorry to disappoint. But like if I don't finish KCD before Trails, I'm playing Trails next. It's not going to Kingdom Hearts. So I'm like,
see, my argument, if I'm being real, do what you want, of course. My argument would be that Trails is brand new and you haven't started it. If we were talking about you starting Kingdom Hearts or starting Trails, start Trails. You have more interest in it. You've already started Kingdom Hearts and you have interest in it. I would return to it before I got too far away. You get what I'm saying? That's my thought process.
That's my thing is Trails comes out like mid to end September. So if I make it to Trails without finishing KCD2, I'm too far away from Kingdom Hearts anyway.
That might be true as well. Yeah.
I think before the second playthrough of KCD, I will do Kingdom Hearts 1 and then I will do KCD.
Well, the upside is kind of no matter what, like I said, Kingdom Hearts 1's it's about 24 hours. Unless you're trying to go for platinum, which you being a crazy man, you might.
I think I'm not, but I think it would be very funny for me to platinum Kingdom Hearts.
It would.
And just
if you had the platinum for Kingdom Hearts 1, I'd be like, mad fucking respect, my guy. I can't talk fucking anything, you know?
How bad would you in your head be like, I need to get this now? Like, I need to
not
go
that bad.
Get it.
Because I think that generally speaking, I actually don't think Kingdom Hearts 1's that bad. It's just, here's the problem. I have platinum Kingdom Hearts 1 on PS2. That's the problem. And so the want to do it again is kind of hard as an adult who's played the game like 17 times.
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
That might be a little bit of hyperbole, but no joke, from age 13 to 22, I played that game at least once a year.
Jesus.
And sometimes more.
God damn.
So
man.
I think it's reasonable to say that, including my first 2 times beat it, because I beat it when I was like 11 and struggled crazy hard with it. And then I beat it again at 13, maybe 14, but I think it was 13, and got really into it and that's when I did everything. And then I played it just depending on what was going on there. So I think altogether, I've probably played Kingdom Hearts 1 12 times at least. It's pretty good. It's good numbers.
Got to pump those numbers up, get the platinum.
Yeah, it's true. Hey,
I can send you the PS3 collection edition.
I have that.
Platinum that too. I'm not telling you. I'm just saying I'll send you. You can get the platinum on PS3.
I have every rendition of Kingdom Hearts you can get.
That's crazy.
I still have the case and game for my Kingdom Hearts 3DS Dream Drop Distance, and I don't even fucking have a DS.
That's funny.
I have no way to play it, but I have the game. And I have Kingdom Hearts RE coded.
Oh.
Actually,
is that a Resident
Evil
crossover?
Yeah, you know it. I don't have the PS2 remake of Chain of Memories because my brother stole it from me as a kid, and I've just never bought it again.
Really?
Otherwise, I would, though.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean,
You gotta do what you gotta do. So, yeah, don't speak of the dark magics to me. I was there when they were written. Chris, it's time we go ahead and move into the little bit of news we have left. I'm going to start with a quick one that I know you didn't put in there, but I think it's worth noting here because it's kind of coupled with this other thing that's going on in the games industry. So, PlayStation 5 has been announced to have shipped 80.3 million units worldwide. Sony announced in its financial results for the 3 months ending in June 30th of 2025. So this is huge. There's 123 million active users on the PlayStation Network, and they sold crazy numbers. But first and foremost, this is great. The PlayStation 5 is doing great at this time in its its life cycle. This is also at the same time as we're hearing Sony actually talk about when and where it makes sense to kind of spread to becoming a more platform based thing than necessarily a console based only thing. So there's that in there. And then I think the final thing is they pretty much all developers, if this wasn't somewhat true to begin with, pretty much everybody has universally said PS4 is out. To the point where even Genshin Impact is like, we're no longer supporting PS4. Sayonara. Sonic, Shadow the Hedgehog. So we have
Wild Hearts.
Yeah, we have our moment. Well, that's a Sonic Adventure 2 reference, but Chris, you're not cultured enough to understand that. So Sayonara Wild Hearts. So there you go. I'm not cultured enough to have actually played the game, but I at least get the reference.
I gotta feel like I'm more cultured because I didn't pull out Sonic. Like,
Bro,
that crazy
Sonic Adventure
game.
2, my guy. Mine's a game from the Dreamcast.
Brother. Just because I haven't read the Bible does not mean I don't know scripture. Okay? Like, let's go.
All right. Ephesians 3, verse 12 through 15.
For he found one emerald and must find the rest.
That was one. I mean, it wasn't right, but it was only one verse to begin with.
For the great Eggman looked upon thee and proclaimed him Sonic.
This is so sacrilegious, and it's kind of funny to me. So I'm not,
I don't know, man. Wait till we start talking about who Shadow represents.
He actually represents Beelzebub.
So it's like I went on a tear with I went on a tear to Blake, just like riffing, and I'm like, I think Weapons is about the military industrial complex in 9/11.
Fucking Alex Jones again.
No, I was dead serious. Like, that's actually what I think that movie's about.
Oh, dude, I 100% was like,
we'll talk about it after the show.
Yeah, we'll have to because I had a moment like in the first 5 minutes where I thought something that you'll probably laugh at, and you might have had a similar thought. Yeah. Anyway, so PS4 has finally kind of hit that end of the road, and one thing I need to look into as well, just interestingly enough, timed in with all this. The PS3 store was down for a few days at the very least. I don't know if it's back up. So we might be saying goodbye to the PS3 again. Sony may have just kicked the can down the road. Thank Jesus.
Radek was very worried on Twitter. So
yeah, good. You know what? I'm proud for Radek. Anyway, so that's what's happening in the world of just how the consoles are going. And with that in mind, the next piece of news is also a quick one. And it's just a little bit more on this idea of what we were talking about, where Sony talked about moving their business model. So over on Twisted Voxel, we have Muhammad Ali Bari, who said Sony Group will shift the focus of its gaming business from a hardware-centric model to a community and engagement-based platform model during its financial briefing for the quarter ending June 30th, 2025. The president stated that the company is gradually shifting its gaming division from a hardware-based business model to a community and engagement-based platform business model. Quote, in the gaming business, we are moving away from hardware-centric business model more to a platform business that expands the community and increases engagement, said Hayakawa. According to him, Sony Group is making a global shift to, quote, creation, end quote, as a company, as the segments of games, music, and pictures make up 60% of its total revenue. This is not too surprising after it had a huge year with, what was it, Demon Hunter, K-pop Demon Hunters or whatever. So this is kind of in line with what Chris and I were talking about a while back, where we're looking at Sony investing in all these things. We have From Software investment going through with its parent company. We have them investing more strongly into Bandai Namco so they can leverage more of their IP. So this kind of goes back to what we started the show with, which is that everything is about IP and how you can leverage it against multimedia things. So, I mean, the reason that Power Rangers is in Fortnite is because it's TV crossing over into games. The reason that Power Rangers ever got a game is because it was TV crossing over into games. So, I mean, this is just the reality of the world, and it's been slowly pushing toward it. But this is not to say that consoles will still not be a big picture item for them. I think that anybody who's looking at this being exactly what Xbox is doing is looking a little too hard, a little too far. It's probably down the road, but I don't think it's happening in the next 5 years so much as we're going to see games that make sense, a la Helldivers 2, making its way across when and where it makes sense. And the real question for the next one, I think the real thing is going to be, when's the next time we see one of these games day and date drop on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC? I'm not saying I'd be surprised if it does, but until then, I think we're still in this kind of, are we seeing them do their PC thing, but just including Xbox now, where on certain live service games, they kind of go, now is the time, let's move it over to Xbox and give this game a second breath. Kind of like what Microsoft did with Sea of Thieves and Grounded. So, all right, Chris, the next thing that we have here is...
Hold on, sorry. I was muted and I had something to say. My bad.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I just mostly wanted to just... Because I think your instinct was right, where I think a lot of this is being read into because they're talking this way at the same time as Xbox, and they are making, multi-platform moves.
Sure.
I think the thing is, I don't think you're ever going to see God of War in an Xbox branded case.
I think ever is strong wording, right? But I don't see it in the immediate future. You know what I mean?
I would say ever, because by the time I could see it even happening, Xbox is so out of the conversation
that's what I was
it doesn't matter. Because I think at this point, you'll be able to play God of War on the next Xbox. That's because the next Xbox is a PC.
Yeah.
So it depends on what people mean. But I think if you look at this conversation that they had and we're talking, they're talking about putting stuff on other platforms. But to me, they're very clearly talking about, we're trying to do more TV shows. We're trying to leverage our anime and our Sony Pictures and Columbia and all this kind of stuff to expand our IPs out. Right? I think people looking into this immediately like, oh, they're putting stuff on Xbox. It's the same people who are like, oh, they're invested in Kadokawa, so they got FromSoft, when the reality is like, FromSoft wasn't even really something they gave a shit about when they were doing that deal. They wanted the anime. So I don't know. That's really my take on it. I think it's a little crazy to sit here and go, oh, the whole slate's coming because Helldivers, which was an obvious live service game going to another console that they said they would do anyway, indicates anything else. And I don't think these comments have changed my mind very much. So, but again, to be clear, and I think this is your stance too, I don't think either of us truly give a fuck either way.
Nah, I don't.
I am invested simply for Twitter drama and to watch it all happen. That's it. If I could not care less if my friends with an Xbox, which is none of them because I have intelligent friends, are joking. Not really. They have PlayStations. So like, I'm not, whatever, but I would be glad if I could go to my brother and be like, hey, God of War just came out. Deal. That's dope. Go play God of War.
Yeah.
But
I think I'm kind of like you in the sense that like, okay, so the guy I do music with for our music project, Casey, he sold his Xbox Series X for a good price. He sold it for $450. Cannot believe he got that much for it. But he was talking, he's been doing a lot more PC gaming whenever he does it. He's not a huge gamer, but he games some. He's mostly like Call of Duty and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think PC is a better fit for him anyway. But he's always been an Xbox guy, and he was very excited about the idea. He was like, hey, man, did you hear that this next Xbox is going to be like crazy, blow stuff out of the water? I'm like, I was like, just to be real with you, every manufacturer says that about everything that they're doing. Yes, it's going to be way more powerful than what they have out right now. Then the question just becomes, what is it? How does it work? Does it let you upgrade things? Does it let you play things from other things? How do they make money off of it? And basically, what I'm getting at is I'm actually genuinely excited to see Microsoft finally talk about their next console, or whatever they want to call it, their next release in hardware, because I want to hear what they say is their method of monetization. Because the obvious ones to me feel like the console route that you've always done, where people buy on your console and you make a percentage of that purchase, like PlayStation and Nintendo have done for a long time. Or you go the PC route, where you make money off of the hardware and it's not subsidized in any fashion, but you just make money off the hardware. That's a very, very different thing. And then you can still make money off the games that you publish. But is there something I'm not familiar with? Because I told him, I was like, look, either it's the console market thing that we know, or the next Xbox is going to be like $1,300, but you'll be able to play everything on it. And that's cool. That's not a problem. I'm just saying that that's the only way that I can see them making profit from it, is if they're making a lot of profit per unit sold. So there's a reason to chase the hardware side, because the reason to chase the hardware side now in the traditional console business has always been that you have more people to get 30% from. Mm-hmm. And so I'm genuinely curious to see what Microsoft says, and if all these rumors are actually true. Will Steam games be playable, or rather purchasable and then playable, on this new Xbox hardware?
Yeah, probably, because it's a PC.
We'll see. Yeah, I'm just genuinely curious to see what the fuck they're doing, because they've admitted their approach that they had doesn't work. But Game Pass is doing good. It's not hitting the exact numbers that they still were hoping for, but it seems like it's impossible to say Game Pass isn't profitable at this point from the last bit of information we saw. So we'll see. I mean, if it's leaning more into Game Pass and then just having hardware that is pulling people toward it, cool. That sounds like we might be seeing Game Pass and Game Pass for PC homogenizing and kind of becoming one. Also cool, not a problem. It's just, what are we looking at, and how's everything changing? It's all exciting, but it's also a little worrying, because it's like, how much are my habits going to change because of other people's choices, right? Which is not a big deal, but like, is PlayStation going to change so much that my habit of playing a PlayStation is going to be so different in feel that it's almost not worth keeping? And then what does that look like? I don't think so, at least not anytime soon. I think it'll be a gradual thing to where, for most people, one day you'll just kind of look back and be like, oh yeah, this really isn't PlayStation the way that I always knew them. But it didn't happen like a light switch, you know? So, but that's enough of that. Let's move on to the next piece of news we have here, and that is about Bungie. And this one's kind of surprising. So Sony CFO Lin Tao recently addressed the troubled development of Marathon, confirming that the company expects the game to launch within its current fiscal year, which ends March 31st of 2026, though she emphasized that this timeframe is not a commitment and no official release date has been announced yet. She noted that development is ongoing, with a more specific timeline likely to be communicated in the autumn, following an update from either Bungie or PlayStation. Cancellation remains unlikely, Tao stated. We believe this launch will happen, clarifying that cancellation would require a revision of Sony's financial projections. Tao also discussed Bungie's evolving relationship with Sony. At acquisition, Bungie was promised operational independence, but structural reforms over the past year have steadily reduced the autonomy. The studio is now being increasingly integrated into PlayStation Studios, a shift that will continue over time. Therefore, ending Bungie as its own standalone bespoke thing, and now instead part of PlayStation Studios.
Yeah.
This isn't entirely surprising. I think anyone who's watched since the Sony acquisition has happened has seen that whatever Bungie had going for it has just continued to kind of wilt away. And I'm not saying that they're bad or anything, but I've seen a lot of people, Velvet Thunder being one of them, one of our patrons and listeners, who was talking about the new Destiny expansion is just not doing a great job at keeping interest in the game up. But what does Bungie have going for it, if not Destiny 2? And that's a real problem.
Halo.
So,
never mind.
It's interesting because it's kind of like what's been slowly happening at Bethesda, where they were like, no, we're going to be our own thing. But then over time, it's just Xbox Game Studios started controlling more and more of their moves. I think I've really learned something that I already kind of knew. Acquisitions are never hands off like that for forever. You buy them because you want them to be something. And the moment that they stop, that they do not hit what you thought they were going to be, you are going to start doing some form of little injections of things that you think are going to pull them back towards being what you wanted them to be. And I'm not even sure if I can say that if you let Bungie completely exist how they were, fully autonomous, like it sounds like they have been, I'm not sure that Sony waiting until now to finally start making changes would have saved anything anyway.
No, I think what this proves is, I know we got a lot, I got a lot of shit for it when I said it, but I think this proves like almost unequivocally that Bungie bullshitted Sony in some way. And I think that's a fault of Sony, but it's clearly Bungie misled Sony to think they were in a much better position, because I don't think it makes any sense that they would have if they knew that this was the future. I don't think they would have bought them, or they certainly wouldn't have given them $3.6 billion and independence. So they clearly bought a studio that they were under the impression of was a good deal for $3.6 billion, because you have these two games, Gummy Bears and Marathon, that are coming out, and you have Destiny, and our books look really great until you turn to the next page that happen to be glued together. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at this thing. I don't think they would have gotten their independence back if things were going as they should have been.
I'm going to be, look, the chances that what you're saying, that there's at least some seed of truth there, is not impossible. And I think there's a world in which you can say there's a reasonable window where you can doubt that. But I'm also going to say something that some people are probably not going to like either, because it kind of shows that Sony was being ignorant and kind of stupid with their money. But let's go into a direction that is less Bungie involved, and let's look at the amount of money, time, and effort that Sony were willing to throw toward a game that you were excited for and that came out and didn't do too hot. Concord. I think if you look at if you look at what happened with Concord, and if you look at a lot of the things that were talked about internally about how Sony viewed the game and wanted it to be and thought it was going to be, until it got out of the vacuum of Sony and went into the market, and everybody else was able to go, what? You thought this was going to be the next Star Wars?
Yeah.
All Jesus. I'm saying is, I honestly think that Sony talked to Bungie, or I think this is most of it, and maybe a very little bit of what you were talking about. But I think this is Occam's razor. It's most obvious. Because of how they chose to go about doing a Concord and everything around it, acquiring the developer, putting the game out, not even trying to fix it, just fucking going, nah, we got our losses. I think every bit of that shows that Sony was being a little flippant with its money in trying to invest in the live service. And I think that they were worried that they were playing catch up. And since they were able to look at Bungie at the time, who had successful launches, and Destiny 2 is one of the big live service games, I think Sony honestly just saw, we convinced them to even let us talk them into buying them. Let's give them the money and go about it. And then I think only after the purchase and only after Concord kind of shit the bed, did Sony start going, were we a little too loose with our money too quickly? I genuinely think that's the most... Even if it's a spectrum, I think that's the vast majority of what happened. Sony had an opportunity. They were worried they were going to lose that opportunity to anyone else. They felt like they were behind in a core segment of the market that everyone's been trying to trend chase into, and they thought this was their way to get a leg up. And none of it has worked out the way they thought it was going to. I think it's bad spending. That's what I call it.
That's
not even because of trickery. I think just bad spending. And it's
definitely both.
We saw an entire generation of bad spending on Sony's behalf.
Yeah, I think the thing is, I don't think Sony is even talking to Bungie if they're not desperate. So it's the two factors can both play in. I don't know. I don't have to. I'll just say it's very funny that you brought up Concord, because as we were recording, I bought a unsealed copy of Concord.
My guy,
I'm not
to
even
the
joking.
shelf of shame.
Yep, to the shelf of shame. It'll go up there next to Skull and Bones. Sorry, one-armed wolf. Gollum, Walking Dead Destinies, and Kong, Survival Instinct. I think what I want to do, dude, is you've seen those like the case and then the manual, which obviously don't exist anymore, and then the disc, like those mounted ones. I want to do a whole wall back there. Like this whole
of
wall
those games
is just horrendous video games. Like I cannot wait until Mind's Eye is at a price that I'm willing to spend on it, because that's one that I will platinum and put on the wall.
Yeah, that's for the books right there. That's one for the books. Look, it's so funny that you say that, though, because the other day, I've gotten this a few times now recently. I guess it's just people finally being like, oh, that's funny. Someone saw me wear that Concord shirt the other day, and they were like, they stopped me and they said, is that supposed to be a tombstone? And I said, yes, it is. and they said, that's so funny. And then just kept walking. and then my buddy Seth, a couple of weeks back, I wore it to his house for card night, and just randomly in the middle of us playing Magic, he just looked over, saw my shirt, and goes, dude, I love that you keep wearing that shirt. I said, yeah. He goes, I just think it's so funny. And he's like, even more funny that you didn't even give a shit about the game. I was like, that's half of why I wear it. Someone's gonna look back, oh, you like Concord? No. But it was a time in gaming history where enough money was wasted.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just outright wasted.
We had to waste a little bit more to make this shirt. Yeah, it's a great shirt. I love it.
Oh, it's so funny, dude. It's probably the best $6 I've ever spent in my life. And it's comfortable as fuck. I love that shirt. It
is a comfy shirt.
Yeah, I love it. It's so good. All right. So we have one more thing that we're going to end the news with, or in the news and in the show with, before we go into one question that we got from Mr. Jehudi MD. Starfield. So Bethesda's sci-fi RPG Starfield is reportedly being planned for a PS5 release in spring of 2026, which runs roughly from mid-March through mid-June of 2026, rather than in 2025, according to sources cited by MP First. The delayed timeline is attributed in part to the underwhelming sales of the game's first expansion, Shattered Space, which launched in September of 2024, to mixed reviews and lackluster reception. The report suggests that Microsoft may be coordinating the PS5 launch with the unveiling of Starfield's second expansion, along with several quality of life improvements to deliver a more polished experience at debut. Additionally, insiders say a surprise announcement at Gamescom 2025 is unlikely, and there are no expectations for a shadow drop, maybe like you would have expected from the Oblivion shadow drop. So this is not a surprise at all. And I have long thought that the big reason that we've not gotten it is because this game sold pretty well initially. The initial game sold pretty well. This game has not had the legs that Skyrim or Oblivion or Fallout 4 has had. And I think a lot of people are able to look at this and say, oh, well, it's because of core issues that are at the heart of the game. My hope is that, and I did hear some good, that the first expansion did solve some of the issues that people had with the game. My hope is that a second expansion can do a little bit more fundamental changes and kind of end you up with a game that feels like, oh, this is a great expansion that moves on and pushes this game into a much better spot. I'm totally down for that. And whether or not we get it on PS5 with that expansion being included, or if we have to buy it, I don't really care. This is a game that I'm still willing to try on PlayStation. I may even try it before I sell my Xbox, since it's on my Xbox. But it's when there's so much competition from like Lost Soul side and Expedition 33 and my want to play Kingdom Hearts again, there's a lot of things I want to do before I want to try Starfield. And that's kind of a shame.
Yeah, it's a game that I don't know. I think I will play it again. I just don't know when, because I did like what I played, and then I got stuck and just stopped. But I didn't love what I played, so it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, I liked it, but I'm stuck here and I'm good. So I'll give it another shot when it comes to PS5. I'm looking forward to that. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, this one's, like I said, we're at the point where this has been to me for months, way more than months at this point. It's always a matter of when, not if.
Yeah, definitely. I'm surprised we don't know yet.
I'll give you that. But you know what I actually think is happening here? Starfield is enough of a similar type of game to the Outer Worlds 2 that they don't want to put it out in the same time on PS5 at the same time as Outer Worlds 2, because I think Outer Worlds 2 would outperform this game. And why give competition to your two games that are kind of similar? Wait and put this out next year when you don't have the Outer Worlds.
I feel like I've said this probably, but I feel like these games they don't need to have a launch again. Like they're kind of evergreen because they've sold, and I think you'll get the initial pop of, oh shit, Starfield's here. Oh shit, Halo. But Halo's always going to sell on PS5. Starfield's always going to sell. That's why I felt like they were flooding the field, because it's like, okay.
I don't know that I'm so sure that Starfield's always going to sell, and I mean that genuinely. I'm a little ignorant.
Yeah, it's a bad.
But I agree with you that Halo is going to sell, and so releasing on PlayStation is not a big deal. Forza 5 is going to sell. Releasing on PlayStation it's going to happen. Starfield is a genuine. I think that game, and if you're seeing on this, as some of the rumors are saying, it's due to lackluster response to the game. And its expansion, I think that there is a little bit of a thing of like, we need to couple this release on PlayStation 5 with things that also make people who maybe were iffy on the game, or who read reviews and the reviews weren't as favorable as like Skyrim or Fallout 4's reviews were, and we need to find a way to pull them back in. So that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for. It's just more of a, they are trying to do the, like Oblivion, right? We're going to do this big showcase where we show you it's not just Oblivion again, it's Oblivion with more shit to make it look better, and run better. Yeah. And I think this game needs that. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if when they do this, they're doing this thing like, hey, it's coming to PS5, and also check out all these game-changing things that we're doing. This is going to fundamentally change the way that this game functions, and hopefully pull me back into being excited about a Bethesda game, because I continue to kind of be of that thing since Starfield kind of just came and went. My excitement for the Elder Scrolls 6, I wouldn't have thought that they would have been connected, but they kind of are. Because since Bethesda's making the Elder Scrolls 6, but they made Starfield seeming kind of underwhelming to me initially, and then hearing it be that it's underwhelming to a lot of people just kind of makes me go, do I really give a shit about what they're doing with Elder Scrolls 6 when I can just play the Tainted Grail and call that the Elder Scrolls 6 in my head? And I know it's not really, but fuck, it's close enough.
Tainted Grail, Fall of Daggerfell.
Fuck yeah.
That'd be sick. I don't know. I'll always be looking forward to the next Elder Scrolls. I just think that they're on a trajectory where they've lost the Bethesda magic, and I hope that they figure that out.
The question is, how do you get something like that back? And I'm not saying you can't. That's a genuine question. How do you get something like that back?
I don't want to give a genuine answer to that question.
No, really?
Yeah, it's called crunch.
I don't know if crunch is the reason their games were what they were.
I think if you have the passion for your game, I don't know, whatever. I think you work hard.
I kind of get what you're saying, but I really think it's context. As weird as that is, I think Bethesda's magic is gone in a world full of games that have been able to catch up to that magic and supersede it in different ways. And now, even though that Bethesda style still there, it doesn't feel as magical. And now that there's no nostalgia tied to it either, it's just kind of like, oh, this is just a Bethesda game, but without any of the years of nostalgia.
I don't know. I still feel like no RPG
I hope I'm wrong.
Feels like a Bethesda game. Like, I love Tainted Grail as much as you did, but I don't think it felt like a Bethesda game. It felt like it was trying to wear the skin of a Bethesda game, but it's not what I expect from a Bethesda game, which is not a bad thing. I
ultimately agree with you. I actually think that Tainted Grail is a take on Obsidian's take on a Bethesda game.
Yeah, it's kind of like how Lies of P isn't as good as Dark Souls, but it's the best game trying to copy Dark Souls, where the Tainted Grail is not as good as Skyrim or Fallout 3, but it's the best of the copies. And I think that's a great place to be.
It's one of the only copies, weirdly enough. There's not a lot of games that try to mimic that style. So yeah, it's pretty interesting to see that come around. But as I said, I think when I play that game, the focus on writing and exploration actually makes me think that this is more of an Obsidian game. But it feels like when Obsidian made Fallout New Vegas, where it's like, this is our take on how Bethesda makes RPGs, but it still has our flavor inside of there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like layers removed, but it's still trying to ultimately be a Bethesda game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
We'll
but yeah, and I guess even more so, the Outer Worlds is also that. The Outer Worlds is another different take on Obsidian trying to make a Bethesda style game.
See, and look, this is how you know that Fallout 3 is better. Because everyone's copying Obsidian, but nobody dares to come at the GOAT.
Fallout New Vegas?
No. Very much not. Oh, the open world RPG that I can follow the pavement and beat the whole game. Fuck you. Sorry. I'm passionate. I run at 1 FPM. Trash.
Yeah. No, the 1 FPM part's a much better argument. That's pretty rough.
It was so painful, bro.
That's why we need a Fallout 3 remaster like Oblivion and a New Vegas remaster like Oblivion. It's not going to happen. I really am. Well, I won't say
it
will
happen. It's going to happen
7 years from now when they're just they're like, we need another Fallout until Fallout 6 is ready.
Fallout New Vegas will come first next year. I'd be willing to bet on that.
I hope. I mean this as lovingly as I can. I am more excited to play New Vegas again than I am 3.
Actually,
but don't get me wrong. I will play 3 still day 1. 3's a great game. I'm not shitting on it.
I should rephrase. I'm not sure which year, but all I'm saying is the next season of the Fallout show takes place in New Vegas, supposedly. So
I would, yeah. I mean, yeah.
I didn't finish it.
No, really.
Yeah, I got bored.
Chris just doesn't finish anything.
Except my orgy. Sorry.
Whoa.
I do be bussing.
Jesus.
Let's bus a move to the question, yeah?
Yeah, we got one question here, and that's because I forgot to post them until right before we were recording. So we have somebody who is quick to respond. It's Mr. Jehudi MD himself, longtime listener, longtime patron. He says, this is kind of interesting because we spent a lot at the beginning of the show talking about this kind of stuff. Choose a mainstream multiplayer game from Fortnite, Call of Duty, or Battlefield and ask yourself, what changes that one of these games can make can entice you into playing them on a consistent basis? And then he said, Chris, I took Apex Legends out since you've had time with that game in the past. That's a fair point. So yeah, these are the other big 3: Fortnite, Call of Duty, and then Battlefield making its way back around after 2042 was a bit of a
pooper.
It sure wasn't what a lot of people wanted. Let's say that much.
Brother, it didn't have a leaderboard.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of wild calls. I don't even give a shit about online games, but when I heard some of the things, I was like, really? Like, that's not in the game? That's surprising. It honestly sounds like that game released unfinished and it never got finished. But at least EA seems like this time around, they were like, everybody's working on Battlefield 6 and it's going to be finished before we launch it. Which is a good idea. That's solid choice there, EA. I hope it works out for you. Chris.
Hey, Brett.
You were saying at the beginning of this episode that you've kind of become less of the multiplayer shooter guy. And I think you know that I, too, have never really been one since you and I have known each other. Most of my multiplayer shooter days were in the PS3 era and a little bit in the PS4 era. But, you know, like we've had times like when we played multiplayer in Space Marine 2. Had a good time. It was great.
Go back to that.
We should. I actually have zero problem with that. Actually, Blaze was asking about wanting to play it, so
I'll download it.
If you want to hop on and play some multiplayer, I'm down. It seems fun
for sure.
I mean, I liked what we played, and we never did any of the operations. So
yeah, we should just get that platinum out of the way.
There we go.
Do it together. Let's get
little by little. Yeah. So I guess as the first thing to try and figure this out, I think we might be able to figure yours out if we can kind of put a finger on what exactly it was that happened that pulled you out. because I think it's fair to say that it's not necessarily your ability to have a party of people to play with, because I know that you still spend a decent chunk of time playing games with Sean and Ben.
Yeah.
So you have a group that you can rely on. So what do you think it is about those games that kind of pushed for you?
Honestly, I think that like the straight up multiplayer of Call of Duty is just not what I'm good at anymore. You know, I used to be like Modern Warfare 2 era. I'm not saying I was like a ninja or a shroud or whatever, but I was better than I am now. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the things with the Battlefield beta is that like it wasn't, I never had one of those, oh, I'm on a 15 game kill streak and I went 30-2. It was like I went 2-30. And it was my fault because I'm sniping and I'm not really like trying to get into the game. But that to me was one of those things where I'm like, okay, well, I think I'm past this, and I'm not the young gun who's going to be, you know, killing it. You're not going to see me doing 1v1 on Rust, you know. It'll be like, let's see who can platinum this game first. That's how I'll show my dominance. So I think that's really the big thing. I don't know that there is much you could do except just get me. You know, like Marvel Rivals has a setup that makes me want to play it. You know, I like those characters and I like the game. Now, I should clarify, I do not play Marvel Rivals very much anymore.
Yeah.
But I did put like a solid 50 hours into that game with my buddies, and it was a great time. If they were still playing, I would still be playing Marvel Rivals. So that's kind of where I'm at with multiplayer ones. I think it's just
a little bit of it is the group. Yeah,
it's almost it's entirely the group, you know, because I've played a ton of Marvel Rivals by myself, but like I was wearing a headset and chatting with people, and I don't. Call of Duty and Battlefield don't give me that same experience, right? If I'm going into a Call of Duty lobby with a headset, there's a 1% chance I'm getting a good team and a 99% chance I'm getting called racial slurs.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of fine with either one, but like I'm not going to sit there and just like chat to a 12-year-old who's jumping from the roof in 360 no-scoping me while calling me the N-word. That's just, I'd rather pick weeds in KCD2 than do that anymore.
Well, you hint on something that I think is a big deal, right? And it sounds like you're saying it, maybe not that many words, but it sounds like you're hinting at the fact that these games, and this, ironically, is something that I don't even know that the game can change, but these games are so popular, and so they're place in culture has gotten so big and so many people play them that the sense of community around them is basically eroded, because generally speaking, community falls apart the more people you throw at it. Yeah. Like communities are usually better the smaller and tighter knit they are. And so games that are coming up and suddenly doing big, like a Marvel Rivals, have people being very passionate about it, hopping in, and they're actively looking. I saw this with Helldivers, and it wasn't even a competitive game, but you'd hop in, and if you had a headset on, even if I wasn't playing with friends, I could generally join a group of randoms, and for the most part, they'd have headsets on, and they weren't assholes. They were actually like, hey, even if they weren't great, they were like, hey, I'm really sorry I keep messing up. And it's like, hey, dude, we're just here to have a good time. I don't even care. At least you're not being a dick and saying it's my fault that we're, you know, know what the issue is and at least be able to throw it. And I'd say that Helldivers had a great sense of community while we were playing it, and I really enjoyed that. And there's other games I've had that I played that did have a great sense of community. The games that I've all had that I enjoyed and I played a lot of, despite their sense of community, has been like Call of Duty games. I played a lot of Advanced Warfare, and I'll get into that more whenever I start talking about mine all the way through. But it does sound like, to at least some degree, the community of who's playing with you in the moment, like the group, is big. But if you don't have that, you look for a game that has good sense of community in lieu of your friends group, like a Marvel Rivals.
Well, yeah, I think the thing with like a team-based game like Marvel Rivals is you're always going to have the shitty guys who are like, oh, you're not healing enough, or oh, you suck, you know, and you're not playing your role well. Like when I was playing Marvel Rivals, I was a Venom main, and he's one of the worst tanks if you don't know how to play him. I did. But like when I would pick Venom, they'd be like, "Oh, you're throwing and they're yelling at me," and then obviously I win the MVP and everything's great. But I think the majority of games that I would play in that type of game, right? It's a 6v6. There's no team deathmatch as the main mode kind of stuff. That is what I like to do, because we all have a common goal. And even if you're gonna call me a slur, at least you're gonna say, "Hey, blank, get on the point," instead of "Hey, blank, you're a blank. Your mom's a blank." You know what I mean? Like,
it's like it's a goal oriented mode.
Right. I would rather have goal oriented slurs than no goal slurs, and I think that's why I lean towards a Marvel rival. So if you were to give me like a somehow more competitive version of a Call of Duty that I really felt like I had to kind of focus in and get good and support the people around me and the team around me, I think I would. You know, having that team doesn't necessarily make me want to play something, because Sean and Ben wanted to play FBC Firebreak. I played for 1 minute and I deleted it. Abiotic Factor, we talked about it last week. I didn't even tell them. Deleted that shit off my PS5. Like, it's not just that. So it's got to have the good gameplay, and it's got to be fun to play, and it's got to have a hook, like Marvel characters that I love, and then I got to have people to play with.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I think community is a big part on mine too. I mean, I think generally speaking, all games are more fun when you have a consistent group of people to play with. So in that sense, I think it's really hard to say like Fortnite, Call of Duty, and Battlefield can't change my friends' schedules to where they line up with mine better, and my responsibilities and my other interests for me to create time to play online games. So there's that. That's a change within my friends groups and how we can try and make things work. But I think to kind of drill in, this is almost antithetical, but I actually think the best way to make me want to play any of these games is to make them smaller, so that the sense of community within the people who are playing them is better. So that if I were to hop in without a group, or even with a group, I feel like there's a reason for me to not just be in a party. You know, because like that was one of the things I liked a lot about Helldivers, is that we'd play, and if there was one of us missing and we ran a match with somebody, we'd hop out of our party and go to in-game chat so that we could talk to the other person, because 9 times out of 10 they had a headphone, they had a headset, and they were willing to talk and not be total asses about it. So that's cool. Mm-hmm. So if you can find a way to make these games less popular to where people who are playing just to be dicks are not going to be on there, then I'm kind of down. I like that. I like being in an environment where I can play with people who are actually curious about getting better, or at least honest about what they're there to do, which is, hey, I find this game fun. I'm not great at it, but I just enjoy getting to kind of have my downtime here. And while we're playing, we can talk about other shit that's kind of coming up. That's great. I love that. You don't get that in a lot of these games that are hyper competitive and have a ton of people. Even in a game like Chris was talking about, where you have an objective, I think that there's an argument to be made that games like Battle Royales do have an objective. The objective is to stay alive and continually move towards where the map is shrinking down to, and try to prepare yourself to be the best you can be in that thing. It's a lot broader of a goal than, hey, hold the position, or hey, capture that zone. Hey, go to B because B is about to be overtaken. Like, that was one of the things I liked about when we were playing Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 was the game modes that they had. Like, I still had fun with the ones that were just more deathmatchy, but I really liked the point control maps. Those were fun. It's like, oh, do what you can to find out how to actually hold the zones and try to win through, attrition. So, like I said, if you can kind of cull these games down to where they're less popular, that way people who are into them are more friendly and willing to be helpful to the community. That's one thing. I think realistically, it's kind of like Chris said, it's almost like a dual answer. If I had to really dig into why I don't tend to play these games anyway, it's also the fact that, like, I only have so much time. I'm constantly trying to be a brother, be a friend, be an uncle, be a father, husband, all these different things. Then I'm also trying to be creative. I'm trying to do music projects. I'm trying to make this card game with Chris and Seth. I'm trying to generally have my own interest. I'm trying to delve into things in science that I find interesting. I'm trying to delve into things in philosophy I find interesting. And making time to just play any game in that environment is already difficult. So I have to go out of my way to try and make time to play games like Expedition 33. And those are games that already play much more into what I want from gaming. Heavy story, good action, something I can play at my own pace and it doesn't beat me over the head. That's part of it. It's actually one of the things I'll say taken out. But those games can't change something to give me more time in my day. So the answer would become that to play Call of Duty in any meaningful way, I have to give up time in something else. And that doesn't really service me. I'm willing to give up some time in Expedition 33 to play Space Marine 2 because I already like the game. I already know it. And I'm playing with a group of people that I know. And I know that we're not trying to do it super competitively. We're not trying to do this every night of the week. So there's that. Then you have things like, I don't know that Fortnite, Call of Duty, or Battlefield actually have these, but a lot of games as a service have these things where, well, we want you on every day and we're going to reward you for it. So hop on, and if you get this many kills, we'll give you this thing, which encourages you to keep going to get this next thing. And if you don't have this next thing, you might be fucked. You know, that was one of the most stressful parts of Destiny 2 that I just really could not keep up with, was just, I don't like this sense of feeling like I'm supposed to be playing it all the time. So the question kind of feels flawed for me in that regard, where it's saying, what can entice you to play them consistent? I don't really want to play a game consistent. That's kind of the problem for me, is that I like to play a game, get done with it, i.e. platinum it, and then go, that was really fucking fun. That was a great time. Now I'm going to move on to this thing that's nothing like this. And that's what was so fun about Call of Duty, like Modern Warfare Remastered, is that I got that experience. I got the fun gameplay, the Call of Duty's very sharp sense of shooting, some of the bullshit, like everybody being a bullet, like you being a bullet magnet, even if they have no clue where you are, they just immediately are there. Like, don't get me wrong, that's easier to fight through because it was fun. It didn't take a lot of time. I was able to do that in about a week. And it was a great week, and I had a really fun time doing it. And then I was just able to platinum it, put a cap on it, and go, that was good. Now I'm going to go play this game where you fucking talk to a dude who wants you to go catch a fish and eat some weird cheese. And that's cool. And I like that. So I think it's a difficult thing to answer because I don't actually think any of these games are doing anything wrong. I guess that's the actual answer. They don't need to change anything, because the problem is more that the genre as a whole doesn't appeal to me much. That said, if anybody's curious, right, like Jehudi and y'all are curious about Battlefield, I'm not opposed to buying Battlefield 6 and playing a little to play with y'all, but I think the difference is I'm okay with buying Battlefield 6, maybe playing the campaign if there is one, and playing like 20 hours of multiplayer and never touching it again, and I consider that a win. I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think a lot of other people are like, why would I buy Call of Duty for $60 and then play it for 20 hours? That's a waste of money. Not to me. But how do you value stuff? That's different. That's why I can look at a game that's 8 hours long and cost $60 and be like, I liked it. I can see why it wasn't good enough for you at that price point. But that's the great thing about value judgments, is that you just get to go, it's okay. Mortal Shell was $30. And if you really want to, you can probably beat that game in like 3.5 hours. But that's cool. That's not really a problem. If anything, it was cool that I did that. Then I went back and did the no shell run. That's fucking awesome. Like, that's a good value proposition. Like, Resident Evil 8 is probably like 12 hours.
Yeah.
But you can go back and perfect it. You played Resident Evil 4, which is probably 12 hours, if I had to guess, somewhere in that 12 to 15 range.
About.
But you get more value if you choose to. That's the thing with me. For most Resident Evil games, I play them their 1 12-hour run, and I'm like, that was great. I never need to play this again. I might, but I don't need to. And I'm not gonna do the runs, but it's cool that it's there. Like, if I ever wanted to, I can go, what would a speed run for me look like? What would a knife only run look like? And I'm not saying it's impossible, right? Because doing the plasma cutter only run in Dead Space was actually super fucking fun. It was like, oh man, playing this game with only this weapon is kind of crazy.
It is also the best gun in the game, so I guess in the original, I think I might agree.
I don't know. I can't think of what it's called right now, just because I'm losing. But the thing that shoots out the bolts or whatever that can pin up against the wall, that's pretty fucking good. That's a great weapon.
Stapler.
The Riveter, I don't know, something like that.
That's fair.
Yeah, but that's cool, right? And like one of the I actually did getting the platinum in Dead Space was super fun, and that's not a long game, and the replays were pretty quick. But so I guess it's just I feel bad telling them to change something because I don't think it's a problem with them. I think it's the only way that I can make them something I would want to play would be to completely change them out of their genre and style, and that's not fun. I don't want clearly the people who love Call of Duty don't want it to change for my whim anyway. But more importantly, I think people who just like online shooters don't want me to come over here and say, I want it to not be an online shooter for me to play it consistently, because that's just not really a good answer. So I guess it's that I'm okay with playing little stints of games and moving on, even multiplayer ones. Like, right? I've played a number of, like, actually, good example of where this is. When I played a bunch of Advanced Warfare, I thought, well, a lot of the Call of Duty stories have been pretty good up to this point. I tried playing Advanced Warfare story, and I did not give a shit. I played like 2 hours, and I was like, I don't give a fuck about what Kevin Spacey's talking about here. This game's not that great for campaign, but I love the multiplayer. And so I just played the multiplayer for a long while and moved on. I think my life would have to change to play those games consistently. You know what I'm going to say? These might be retirement style games. I mean, like, maybe not retirement, but like, okay, when my daughter turns 18 and maybe moves out of the house, and I'm not spending as much time trying to like make sure I'm spending time with her and bring her up. Of course, I still want to spend time with her, but when she's more of an adult and doing more on her own and doesn't require as much attention from me, I will suddenly have a lot more time.
You're gonna become cracked at Call of Duty at like what, 50?
Maybe. I don't think I'll be that old. Damn, dude. She's 10 already. I'm only 32. I'll be 40.
Damn. Dude, so, but here, this is your problem. I was thinking the same thing with Blake, right? Is like, you guys are going to have your kids like grown and older. And then I'm going to be like, Brett, what the fuck is going on?
What's funny is I'm finally going to have time. And I'm going to shoot Chris all these multiplayer game invites while he's trying to play fucking Trails from the Butthole 17. Whoa. That's not me trying to shit on Trails. I don't know. There's Trails of everything. Trails of Ocean Blue 3.
Oh, God. Ooh, the third one.
And you're gonna be trying to get lost in that, and then this is like your only time that you've had the game in 2 days, and then I'm gonna send you, without saying anything to you, I'm just gonna send you an invite. Hey, Chris wants you to play. Hey, Brett wants you to play Call of Duty with him. I don't want to play Call of Duty. I'm trying.
My kid finally stopped shitting. I'm gonna play Trails. Leave me alone. I've been trying to play this game for 2 years.
I've been trying to play Trails, and all this kid keeps doing is leaving trails on my floor. Jesus.
Oh, God.
Yeah. That's it is interesting. Having kids young when your friends don't necessarily, and don't get me wrong, I say my daughter I love my daughter, and she's one of the best things that's ever happened to me. I did not plan to have her at 22.
Yeah.
But it's been a great thing for me. And it's, so it's not a bad thing. It's just, in a weird way, it is cool that I'll still be like, when she's kind of going out more on her own, I'll be like 38. Because like when she's 16, she's not going to care about me as much. That's just a reality of how kids work. So I'll gain a lot more time back around 38. And then at 40, I'll kind of, depending on how things go, that's cool. That's not a bad thing. In a way, I'd rather do that than be one of those people who like their kids turning 18 when they're 60. Like that seems hard in a completely different way,
Yeah.
But they're all all of them work. It's just for me, I think it's worked out that I ended up having a kid early. So Jehudi, we'll see. Maybe I'll have a better answer whenever I actually have more time to play those, but try them and they just don't click. Then I might be able to go, if they change this, I'd play this more often. I'm going to give you one in the spirit of right now. You ready? If any of these 3 games would adopt a more weighty control system like Killzone 2 and 3.
Propaganda is coming in hot today.
Then I would immediately be more interested. Yeah.
Love that for you.
Yeah. I will probably die on the hill of being one of those people. I'm one of that select few people who's like, there's people that like both. I genuinely prefer that one, but I still like Call of Duty. Don't get me wrong, like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 was fun as shit to play. Killzone 2 is still a better game to me, but that's okay.
Yeah, sure, man.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's all right. Look, sales have got your back. The wins are at your sales in that regard. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 or whatever, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare clearly sold more than Killzone 2, but Killzone 2 was a generational game, baby, which so was Modern Warfare. So let's not try and act like it wasn't.
You're right.
Generational in very different ways, but generational all the same. All right, Chris, I think that rounds us out, man. Jehudi, I want to pose the question back around to you, and with the implication that you play, because I know that you're very excited for Battlefield, therefore I assume that you're intending to play a lot of it. What is it about these games that do call you to play them on a consistent basis, and how do you think that differs from what Chris and I were saying here? I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think you're a little older than Chris and I. So maybe you're just at a different place in your life, and that gives you a certain amount of time. Maybe it's more of a different need depending on what you are. Because I think certain jobs need certain de-stressors, and maybe certain jobs it's more fun to come home, sit down, leave your brain off in the sense of I don't have to think about story and all this too much. I just get to let some of my stress out on shooting people with no care as to why I'm doing it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't have to be like, oh, it's because they're fucking gomaging everybody that I love. So yeah, I want to hear that from you, Jehudi. I look forward to hearing from you in the Discord. So yeah, if you want to join in and throw some of your reasons as to why you like those style of games, hop into the Discord, linked in the description below. You can hop in and talk to us day to day, moment to moment, or you can hop into the podcast open discussion and bring up these points or see what everybody's playing and follow the news and all the random things that people do. We have all these people that post in our Discord throughout the day, and we appreciate it. We try and hit them up, be active in there when we can. It's been pretty busy for me lately, so I've been in there, but maybe not as much as I used to be, or maybe even should be. So go on over there, do that. We appreciate you. Chris, you have anything you want to round the episode off? Are we good to say goodnight and talk about our lovely patrons? Chris,
I'm good. I love it. Not muted. Don't
not
fucking
muted.
say it.
I wasn't. I was going to stop it.
No, you were not.
I was literally stopping myself, Chris. But it's okay.
I'm good, man. It's been a fun episode. It's a good chat as always.
A lot of bullshitting about online games this episode for some reason.
Yeah, apparently.
For people that don't even really play them. Yeah, we'll see what people have to say about that. If you want to join our patrons who went over to patreon.com/Nartech and gave as little as $1 per month to keep this show going so that we don't have to dig into our own pockets. Hey, thank you guys. We appreciate the hell out of that. We shout them out at the end of every episode. It's a way to say thank you for that donation or whatever you want to call it. I think donation is not a bad way to phrase it. But without further ado, we want to shout out Ryan Goldner, Low Rate Nate, Spencer, Brandon Edwards, Alex, Barry Rogers, Stingray X, Matt Tubbs, Easton 328, Bailey Robertson, Mark Schutz, Rude Days 93, Kevin Bacon Bits, Danny Villalobos, Jehudi MD, No Fate, Josh Ayers, Derek Porter, and Sean Santaroo. Thanks to each and every one of you. We will see you next episode.
Peace, bitch.